An amendment was passed Wednesday in the House Ways and Means Committee that could make that happen. This lawmaker breaks it down.
It sets up for the trigger to happen for that income tax reduction. You have to have 4 consecutive years of at least 4% growth. I do want to ask the committee to consider to move that 4% to 3.5%.
Now, that may sound a bit technical, but it would make the cuts more likely to happen. Some Democrats objected to that amendment. Hoosiers will be waiting in parking lots this weekend for trucks to arrive. Terry Stacy explains why.
The fruit truck arrives first in Avon, hauling precious cargo, fresh Florida strawberries. What makes them so popular?
Well, our Florida strawberries are just like our Georgia peaches. If you're going to eat one, put a bib on or a napkin on your neck because it will drool down your face. That's how juicy they are and how sweet they are. You know, oftentimes people get them at the truck and they're eating them on the way back to the car.
That's Grandma Penny. MyFruitTruck.com for other locations across the city and state. Terry Stacy, WIBC Mobile News.
And at 9:04, Matt Bear has traffic.
Crash inbound 70 before the north split, blocking the center lane, causing stop traffic back to Emerson Avenue, a 13-minute delay. Northbound 69 in Madison County closed after State Road 9 because of a crash involving a semi. It's in a ditch off the right shoulder. Crash northwest side, 86th Street east of 465. That's an injury crash. Somebody trapped inside a vehicle. In Hancock County, eastbound 70 after State Road 9, a stall blocking the right lane. Traffic sponsored by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping and code radio. Get an extra 5% off. I'm Matt Bear on the 5s at WIBC Traffic.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Being young with unlimited energy to burn. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think you could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
All guys lose their edge when they turn 40. The body has less testosterone. That's why I take Nugenics Total T.
I've heard about Nugenics. That really works?
Since I started taking Nugenics, I'm lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. I feel more energized at work. It's even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try?
Yep, send a text. It's that easy.
Text ENERGY to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenics Total T. It's the #1 selling testosterone-boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now, and they'll also send you a bottle of Nugenics Thermo X, their newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text ENRGY to 42424. That's ENERGY to 42424.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Scattered showers and storms continue overnight with a warm front. We stay mild, low down to 50. Friday morning showers, partly cloudy in the afternoon, warm 77. Saturday scattered showers late, a high of 70. Severe storms Sunday, a high of 68. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8's Marcus Bailey, 93 WIBC.
And I'm John Herrick on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. 9:06, time for Kendall and Casey.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
This Diego Morales thing just keeps getting more and more strange.
Yeah, okay, so he was missing, and we found him in India.
Okay, so Diego Morales is the Secretary of State.
Secretary of State, sure.
Yeah, he had gone missing. People didn't know where he was. He was basically unaccounted for in the state. I was told since last Monday.
Yeah.
The last known photo of him, we went back to both his Twitter, his campaign Twitter, and his official Twitter, was 5 days ago in Rensselaer.
Yeah,
he was at some ice cream shop. He had gone missing. He was supposed to appear. This all started. He was supposed to appear at that event at Life Church with the other statewide elected officials. We started talking about, well, should I go? I have so many questions about this to ask this dirtball about the brother-in-law getting the six-figure salary, the no-bid contracts with big money that end up coming, back in donations to these people he gives no-bid contracts to.
The $15,000 bonus.
Donating big money to his campaign. All a litany of things I would love to ask this guy. And I said, the problem is I'm not sure if they're going to allow me to ask any questions. And they're like, well, the questions have got to be submitted in writing. And I said, well, the guy that's moderating the forum is his buddy. There's no way that he's going to put any grill on him. But then he no-shows the event.
Right. He wasn't there.
He sent Keegan Kagan, I think, in his place, his legislative director. And I was told by Micah and other people that he had said what they had said in that Senate hearing 2 weeks ago that he no-showed, the budget hearing, where he didn't show up. And they said he was on some economic development mission.
Right.
But they didn't say where he was. Diego can't go 10 seconds without taking a photo of himself. So that's super weird that he wasn't like, I'm going here and I'm meeting with this company. I'm doing this. First of all, the Secretary of State has no economic development criteria for obligation for his job anyway.
Yeah.
That's the job of the governor and the Indiana Economic Development Corporation. So all of this is like super weird. The Secretary of State is missing. He's supposedly on some economic development mission, but they won't tell you where he is. He's missing a budget hearing. There's one photo. Who even knows when that was actually taken from Rensselaer over the past 5 days? And then all of a sudden, it turns out he's in India.
Right.
This group, this organization posts this photo of him and others in India. What was the name of that group that he was with? It was
Indo-American.
Yeah, that's right. It's not like it rolls off the tongue.
Indo-American Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah. Okay. So he's in India, and so then, like, not even saying really like what he's doing. There's no clear thing about why he's there, what's actually going on, what the whole thing is. But they list some of the people that are there with him. These, whatever, distinguished guests, dignitaries, whatever. And on the list is Raju Chantilla.
Yeah, senior advisor to Secretary of State of Indiana.
They list Raju as a quote-unquote senior advisor, Shinthala. I'm sorry, I want to make sure I get his last name right. Raju Shinthala as a senior advisor. Well, Raju, our audience will remember, was the guy who ran for Congress.
Yeah.
Who had the wacky
the
down
jingle?
home Raju jingle, and then Hammer turned it, mixed that with the Sandstorm remix, and we came up with this.
Yeah.
Shades of red, white, and blue.
Okay, so we all remember this, and so okay, how are these guys connected? What are they doing together? Why are they in India together? Well, then somebody sends me a post from Raju that he has made on his Facebook page, and he lists himself as going to India, the Hyderabad, the place in India, right? I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that right. My Indian cities and locations are not what they should be. But he lists that he's going to be there, which he clearly is in India, obviously, right? We can see from the post. And he's going there. He's broadcasting this to people to sell access to these EB-5 immigration visas.
Yeah.
And he lists it as, I'll just read you the post, right? It says, EB-5 immigration investor visa. EAD in 6 months. Get your green card in 1 year. Investment details. Investment, $800,000.
Right.
Admin fee. I don't know what that is. $600,000.
$60,000.
Or $60,000. I'm sorry, $60,000. USCIS fee. Now we looked that up. That's the USCIS. We looked that up earlier. What are they? That's
Customs.
USCIS. United States Citizenship and Immigration Services fee. $25,700. Immigration attorney fee. $22,900. Annual return, 6%. Total payout, $992,000 after 5 years.
After 5 years.
So he's asking. So he's in India with the Secretary of State. Raju is. And the Secretary of State, per his people, is supposedly on some sort of economic development mission. But this guy, Raju, says, I'm there selling access to these EB-5 immigration visas.
That's it exactly. Now, I was looking up the EB-5 visa, and this is a program. Typically, the required investment is $1 million. However, if the investment is made in a targeted employment area, which is a rural area, and the required investment drops to $800,000.
Okay. So that's weird enough, right? So you've got the Secretary of State, Diego Morales, who disappears, ends up in India with this guy, Raju, who ran for Congress.
Who used to work for the IEDC.
And by the way, he is something now with the Hamilton County Republican Party. I can't remember if it's treasurer or secretary. He's super connected with the Hamilton County Republican Party. They end up in India together, where this guy, Raju, is saying, I'm going there to sell these EB-5 immigration visas. One would assume he's not running a soup kitchen and doing this out of the goodness of his heart.
Well, I think that's where the administration fees come in.
I got you. And what was that, 60 grand? I mean, we don't know exactly how it's all working out.
And then the attorney fees.
But wait, Casey, then it starts getting even weirder and probably worse.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, I'm going to start looking in to how Raju and Diego might be connected.
Right.
And I found what appear to be, through state documents, 2 contracts that Diego's office has with a company that Raju is listed on other state documents as the president of, for a contract that would have paid out $80,000 over the course of these 2 contracts.
Okay.
So you have a guy who, according to state documents, is a contractor with Diego's office. Now, trying to figure out what this contract actually is, what he actually does, because the state, Diego's transparency is a loose word with Diego, but the transparency portal listed as business program outreach consulting.
Yeah. Okay.
What the heck is that? And apparently, based on the first contract and the second contract, they told up, I think it's $48,000 and $32,000, $80,000. So you have a guy who has been paid, according to state documents, or will be paid upwards of $80,000 through Diego Morales' office in India with Diego Morales, where he's listed as a senior advisor. So a guy with the contract with the office is now a senior advisor. Does that sound ethical to people?
Yeah, there's a lot of money going back and forth, isn't there?
And then they're in India together, which Diego Morales has no part of his job that is related to economic development, like his statutory authority, things he's supposed to do. His job is to administer the will of the Indiana General Assembly. So, yes, he oversees businesses, business licensure, right? That is his job, to administer the will of the General Assembly.
Right.
So you have these guys in India together after Diego's office has given this guy, according to state documents, will give him $80,000 of public money. Then they're in India together, with Diego being listed in his official role as Secretary of State on this post, while this guy is bragging about how he's selling access to EB-5 immigration visas.
That's right.
Did I miss something?
No.
Did I summarize it all there?
No, I think you got it. It's you really have to get a diagram out to follow all of this.
But they're being super brazen about this. Like, we only know about this because Raju posted this on his Facebook page. And this organization, what are they? The whatever they are.
Indo-American Chamber of Commerce.
Said Diego Morales is here. We're very pleased to have him, and his senior advisor, right? Raju is here with him.
Right.
What the hell is going on here? And why is nobody looking into this? Why are we doing all the work on this?
Okay, so the EB-5 visa, this is the same plan that Donald Trump came out and said he's replacing with a gold card. And that's supposed to happen in 2 weeks. So is that why this trip was planned so quickly?
So it has not started yet.
Correct.
Because Trump, so let's take a pause, and then I want to explain the change here, because I want to explain what this EB-5 immigration visa actually is and how it currently works and the
change that Trump is proposing.
Look, I get we're spending 2 segments on this, but the crap this guy has pulled, being Diego Morales, since he's been in office. I mean, we talk about the no-bid contracts, and those companies end up giving big money back to his campaign. The brother-in-law getting the 6-figure salary, the bonus for the brother-in-law. His refusal to answer basic questions at hearings about how many of your family members are employed. The fact that he no-showed the hearing, the fact that they say he's in India on an economic development mission. Let's go way back in the time machine when he ran for Congress, and the fact that he apparently voted in a county different from where he took his homestead credit. Like, there's just a litany of stuff with this guy, and it feels like this is a moment where we are hitting the tip of the iceberg with him being in India with a guy who he has according to state documents, has a contract with His office does.
Pays him $80,000. Now he's in India with him, where this guy is selling
these
EB5.
All right, so I want to talk about real quick when we come, because this is a huge deal. Somebody's got to look into this. Somebody's got to start with some authority to figure out what is going on here, because none of this makes any sense.
It's Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
This is about money. 1,000%. They started this.
When you work,
we are going to make some noise today.
Eliminate property taxes now.
Hanging out with us, it's fun.
Right.
when you drive home,
Is it time to try something new, you think? Because it hasn't worked, and maybe try something new.
traffic when you need it,
Stopped on 465 again.
and updates all the time.
I'm Ryan Hedrick on the level, on the go.
Stay in the know wherever you go with 93 WIBC.
Meanwhile, at Xfinity. So, influencer life going well?
Oh, yeah. I'm up to 32 followers.
Oh, that's something.
Yeah, posting my tap dancing videos is easier than ever because we engineered Xfinity Internet with 99.99% network reliability.
Plus, Xfinity Mobile with Wi-Fi Power Boost gives you ultra-fast Wi-Fi at home and on the go. But wait, tap dancing? You don't tap dance.
Hey, what I lack in skill, I make up with passion.
Do more of what you love and love how fast you do it with Xfinity Internet and mobile. Now through April 17th, get 300 megabit Xfinity Internet and one unlimited mobile line together for $30 a month for 1 year and save $1,000 in your first year over Verizon and AT&T. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Savings compared to Verizon 5G Internet plus one unlimited welcome line and AT&T Internet 300 plus one unlimited starter SL line. Xfinity Internet required. Actual speeds vary. Reduced speeds after 30 gigabits of usage per line. Data thresholds and actual savings vary.
The April 15th deadline to file the FAFSA is fast approaching. When you complete the free application for federal student aid, you help your child access Indiana's nearly $400 million in financial aid, including programs like the 21st Century Scholarship. It also determines your student's eligibility for federal grants and scholarships for college or certificate programs. Visit studentaid.gov to get started. For complete information, go to learnmoreindiana.org/FAFSA. Paid for by the Indiana Commission for Higher Education.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray.
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultrafine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
The Attorney General's Office, reuniting Hoosiers with over $1 million in unclaimed property every week. Visit indianaunclaimed.gov or text money to 46220 today.
Okay, before we get into this EB5 visa thing, let me repeat this back to you, what we determined last segment, and make sure I've got it summarized correctly. Because you're right, it's like Charlie, that scene of Charlie from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, with all the stuff on the board, and he's pointing at things, and string is strung out. So, it's Kendall Casey show, by the way. I'm Rob. That's Casey. So, Secretary of State Diego Morales essentially disappears. His staff says he no-shows his budget hearing, which is a huge no-no. They say he's on an economic development mission.
Correct.
But nobody knows where he's at. He then pops up being tagged or whatever in a Twitter post that he's in the country of India.
Right.
Along with a guy named Raju Chintala, who they list as a senior advisor. Well, then when you look into Raju, according to state documents, is being paid upwards of $80,000 from Diego's office for a job where you don't exactly know what it is.
It's listed as Business Program Outreach Consulting.
Okay, so they then end up in India together, where Raju is posting on his Facebook page that he is going there to sell EB5 visas.
Yes. It's an immigrant investor visa.
Okay. So the Secretary of State is allowing some guy to be, quote unquote, a senior advisor who he has a big money contract with his office. And then they're in India together, where this guy is basically making it known, I am here to sell these EB5 immigration visas. Did I summarize what's going on now?
Yeah, I think you got it.
And it's not that he has a contract with Diego's office. Maybe he provides some great service, don't know, like everything else with Diego, it's super vague on what he actually does. But it's that he is now a guy who is controlling, has some level of control or influence, for the very least, over potentially his own contracts as a quote-unquote senior advisor, which is how he's listed on that tweet. He has control or influence over that, the contracts, the documents say he's a part of. And then they're in India together where he doesn't appear to be on some Hoosier-based mission. There's nothing on that post that says, I'm doing this for my government, I'm, volunteering my time. It appears to be something that he's doing. I mean, he's listing a personal email address, etc. This seems very, very concerning.
Who's paying for this trip?
Great question, Casey. How did Diego get over to India, and who is paying for the trip? Who's paying for him to stay over there? What else is he doing while he's over there?
These are the questions that we would like answered, but, he's not even showing up to his budget hearing.
But we don't have any authority over Diego. The House and the Senate, along with the Inspector General, should be asking these questions. Law enforcement should be asking these questions. Maybe there's some perfectly logical explanation for this. Maybe it's all above board. I think the average person looks at this and goes, at the very least, that seems highly unethical. Doesn't mean there's anything illegal going on. Maybe he's all within the rules. Maybe he's all within the lines. But it's got to go beyond the radio guys doing the digging and asking the questions, because a lot of people look at this now going, what in the heck is going on?
So let's talk about this EB-5 visa. Okay, this is a U.S. immigrant visa program. It's supposed to attract foreign investors who want to become U.S. citizens. And typically, the required investment is $1 million. But if it is a targeted employment area, they call it a TEA.
No, wait. When you say investment, what the premise was, and this became a law in the early 90s,
right?
Which was to say, if you're willing to come to this country and invest in this country, we will give you a pathway through this visa to become a citizen of this country if you meet targets of investment as a business person in our country.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the investment has been lowered to $800,000, especially if it's in a higher unemployment area or rural area. And that is the amount that you have Raju listing it as.
Okay.
Investment, $800,000.
So this is apparently about to change, though, because Trump and the Trump administration had said, wait a second, and I think they specifically said this thing is got all sorts of fraud going on with it. There's all sorts of abuse of the system. It's too hard to track. Screw all of this. We're going to up the fee. What is it, to $5 million, right?
$5 million.
Let's just call it what it is. You're buying citizenship into this country. And Trump said, let's cut the bull crap. Let's cut the fraud. Let's cut the waste. Let's cut the abuse. I am changing this to a $5 million fee to come in. And let's just be honest with Americans what we're doing. We got a lot of debt, and you can buy citizenship in this country.
So the investment is supposed to create at least 10 full-time jobs for U.S. workers. And upon approval of the EB-5, the investor and their immediate family members are going to be granted conditional permanent residency for 2 years. And then after 2 years, they can apply to have the conditions removed. And if they meet the job creation and investment requirements, they can then get their green card and be a U.S. citizen.
So Trump estimated there are 37 million people in the world who he thinks could pay the $5 million fee. They think they can get 1 million of them. And it sounds like stuff like what we're talking about here is why they're changing this system. I mean, think about this. You have a guy apparently walking around India whose mission is to sell these EB-5 visas, and he's got the Secretary of State of the state of Indiana. I don't know if he's in tow with him, if they're hanging out while they're there, but certainly they're listing him as a senior advisor, which who knows what's actually going on or has gone on in India with the Indiana Secretary of State and these EB-5 visas, and somebody needs to get to the bottom of it because it's very, very concerning. And the General Assembly has the ability to start this, whether it's the Inspector General or the Feds or Ryan Mears. But the General Assembly has the ability to start this by saying, we are not giving one penny to the Secretary of State until he comes back and answers these questions. Your budget will get zero. Your office will get $0 allocated to it until you answer these questions that we have for you. They have the ability to get to the bottom of this right now if they really want to.
So yesterday, Diego's official Secretary of State X account posted a video, and it seems like he's trying to explain what he's doing. Maybe a little. It's full of B-roll. It's not current footage. It's not current footage of him in India, but this is what he says.
While crisscrossing our state, I've been meeting with many local leaders, including mayors of our great cities across our Hoosier state, with the goal of attracting new businesses and investment. I've also been encouraging our Hoosier mayors to form sister city relationships. These partnerships allow for economic growth. Hoosier State is the best, and I'm doing my part to showcase Indiana on the international stage.
Not your job. Your job, you are an administrator of the will of the Indiana General Assembly. Whether it's business licensure or elections, you're an administrator. The same way as Elise Nishala, as the comptroller, is an administrator. No, they have freedoms. They have flexibilities in terms of, like with Daniel Elliott as the state treasurer and things he wants. But your ultimate job is to be an administrator of the will of other people. And you are not, as the Secretary of State, an economic development arm for the state of Indiana.
Yeah, he says that he's trying to promote Indiana on the international stage and attract economic growth, investment in the form of EB-5 immigrant investor visas.
Well, you know who, if they really wanted to get people to invest in Indiana, they'd send John Herrick over there. They'd send John Herrick to India.
And his wonderful smile would attract many people. He's up next with the news. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Attention Indiana 5 residents. Please join Congresswoman Victoria Spartz at one of her upcoming quarterly town halls. Friday, March 28th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the IMMI Conference Center in Westfield. And Saturday, March 29th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Muncie City Hall in Delaware County. For more information, please visit Representative Spartz's website at spartz.house.gov. Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Some advice he hopes you take. Mostly cloudy and 42 in the Circle City. 60 is the high today. I'm John Herrick. Here's what's trending at 9:31. Tornadoes are possible this weekend across Indiana.
Severe storms technically mean severe winds above 60 miles per hour. So the threat is certainly there for high winds like that whenever the storms pass through.
Cody Moore at the National Weather Service says rain is also in the forecast the next few days. President Trump is imposing new 25% tariffs on foreign-made cars and trucks. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney says the decision is a direct attack on Canada and Canadian workers, but he'll need to assess the details before taking any retaliatory measures.
You know, this will hurt us, but through this period, by being together, we will emerge stronger.
Trump says the goal of his executive order is to increase domestic manufacturing of cars and auto parts. He wants to support growth and make Indiana a favorable place for business. That's part of the reason Governor Mike Braun says he signed an executive order on Wednesday requiring state departments to publicly report permitting data to improve transparency and efficiency in the permitting process. And your opening bell report on 93 WIBC. Right now, we're starting off the day in the red. The Dow is down 32 points at 42,714. The S&P 500 is down 15 points at 5,744. And the NASDAQ is down 73 points to 20,044. I'm John Herrick on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
The 66th Annual O'Reilly Auto Parts World of Wheels Custom Car Show. March 28th through 30th, Indiana State Fairgrounds. Discount tickets exclusively at O'Reilly Auto Parts stores. See America's finest hot rods, customs, trucks, motorcycles. The cars are the stars. All weekend. The O'Reilly Auto Parts World of Wheels Custom Car Show. March 28th through 30th, Indiana State Fairgrounds. Purchase discount tickets exclusively at O'Reilly Auto Parts stores.
I'll say this. There are no entries in the Hoops Fan Hall of Fame who didn't show up to the game. Yes, you in the back.
Professor, March Madness is coming to Indianapolis. Are we ready?
You prepared to bring the fire? Give it 110 from tip to the final buzzer? Oh, you're ready. The NCAA Sweet 16 and Elite 8, March 28th and 30th in Indianapolis. Buy your seats today at ncaa.com/MVB tickets. Class dismissed.
Looking for a great deal on a new Lincoln? Come to Tom Roush Lincoln. Select 2024 Lincoln Navigators, now $15,000 off, and get 0% for 72 months. How about an all-new 2024 Lincoln Nautilus, now $6,000 off with rates starting at 4.9% for 60 months. We look forward to seeing you at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers.
Lincoln Navigator MSRP 104,825. Lincoln Nautilus MSRP 57,785. Offers good through March 31st, 2025. Subject to credit approval. See dealer for complete offer details.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go. Shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Spring in Indy, and if you hate to paint, do what your neighbor Don did. He called Rhino Shield.
Well, the home was built in 1948. Paint on the aluminum siding was peeling, and I couldn't find anyone who would repaint it until I called Rhino Shield.
Rhino Shield's better than paint. And the crew?
Painted all my aluminum siding, and I've got a front porch that runs the whole length of the house, and all the pillars and everything. And once they were gone, I couldn't even tell that they were there.
With Rhino Shield's 25-year transferable warranty, you'll never have to paint your home again. And right now, you can have Rhino Shield for 15% off the regular price.
Well, I've told a lot of people, do the Rhino Shield. It's really a great product, and if you don't want to paint the house, that would be the way to go.
Here's Rhino Shield's Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino!
Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Well, the LEAP District and the Indiana Economic Development Corporation are about to cost you a bunch of money again, Casey.
Okay, so this is because the electricity demands for the LEAP District have doubled. LEAP, the Limitless Exploration Advanced Pace Research and Innovation District.
This is in Boone County in Lebanon. This was the brainchild, the dream of Eric Holcomb, that they were going to create this. Like in his mind, it was Field of Dreams for his big corporate buddies to come and put their bright, shiny objects on. And the state has gobbled up through the Indiana Economic Development Corporation. Now, the Indiana Economic Development Corporation is funded by you, the taxpayer, but it's very hard to get information on what they're doing with your money.
Because it's a quasi-government organization.
What we do know is they've spent hundreds of millions of dollars purchasing thousands of acres of property in Lebanon and Boone County, and the only thing they have thus far to show for it is an Eli Lilly factory.
Right. They're the only confirmed tenant. And the word is that they plan to invest $13 billion into this research and medicine manufacturing facility.
Now, Meta was supposedly doing something there. They announced that last fall, but nothing has become public on any of that with Meta. There's no contract that anyone has seen, to my knowledge. Nobody knows. So right now, you've got hundreds of millions of dollars being spent. You have no idea on much of what it was spent or the rate of return because it's done through the Economic Development Corporation. It's your money, by the way. So when they tell you there's no money to help you with property taxes, remember the most recent state budget, the Indiana Economic Development Corporation got $500 million to do stuff like this.
Yeah.
And Eli Lilly is the only thing that is there. Now, this is housed, this limitless exploration advanced pace thing is housed in, it's not technically called a tax increment finance district, but it's a glorified tax increment finance district, which means the revenue that's being generated there, much of it stays in that area. So you have no idea how, if, whenever you as a state taxpayer will see the benefit of that and what that will be. So what has now come out, the Capitol Chronicle, and I'm going to get to how this is going to cost you a lot of money here in just a moment. The Capitol Chronicle has an article that came out today. Nikki Kelly's going to join us at 10:15 to talk about this as well. That the LEAP district it's been a dumpster fire so far. They quickly came out and said we don't have enough water, so they tried to steal that water from Tippecanoe County. That's hit a log jam. So they've had to pump water in from an outside provider because Holcomb was not going to allow this thing to fail. Now the new thing is there's not enough power.
We need more power.
They've got one tenant there, Lily, and now they're already like, well, we're running out of power for the LEAP district. We need more power pumped into the LEAP district after one tenant's there.
Yeah, so the electricity demand for this district has doubled. A total demand is estimated at 1,200 megawatts, which is an increase of 600 megawatts from their previous projections. And what they wanted to do was they wanted to connect to existing lines in Whitestown, constructing 30-plus miles of new power lines, adding new circuit breakers, new substations, right? And, of course, all of this would cost a whole lot of money, just $222 million.
Okay, but now let's get to how it's going to cost you big time as a regular ratepayer, whether you live in the greater Lebanon area or not. So one of the discussions going on with the General Assembly right now is about SMRs, small modular reactors. And what small modular reactors are essentially mini nuclear power plants. And the conversation around SMRs right now that the lawmakers are having is, hey, we're running out of power in this state. We do not have enough electricity to provide to all the need we're going to have. So we need to invest in these SMRs, small modular reactors. Well, when they say we need to invest, the deal that is currently on the table right now that looks like it's going to head to the governor's desk will allow these utility companies, which are monopolies, by the way, right? These utilities are set up by the government to be monopolies. You have no option. Whoever when you buy a house, who's my electric provider? Who's my gas provider? Who's my water? Who's my sewer? You can't shop it.
Right.
You can't.
You have to go with who's in your area.
You can't compare and save. So these utilities who are public monopolies are now going to be allowed to invest in these SMRs. And whether they fail or not, because the technology is still very sketchy, it's not ironclad, it's not guaranteed it's going to work, they will be allowed to pass that investment on to the ratepayer, whether the thing works or not. So think about in a private sector business. Hey, I've got this idea for a widget, and it's going to be the greatest widget ever. If the widget fails, you don't get your money back.
Right.
That's the point of the investment is you're going to make money off of it if it succeeds. But if it fails, the risk is on you, except not here. They're going to allow these public monopolies, these utility companies, because they're having to pump so much power into things like the LEAP district that the lawmakers now are running out going, oh my gosh, we don't have enough power. We're running out of power. Well, you're giving it all to things like LEAP, and we don't know where that's going or what that's doing or what that return is. They're now going to allow these public monopoly utilities who you can't shop around or get out of to invest in this technology, which is, again, very sketchy still, not ironclad. And if it fails, if it succeeds, they pass the rate cost on to you. You can't get out of it because you can't shop a utility. But if it also fails, they still get to pass the rate cost on to you. And that's about to be approved by the General Assembly. So get ready to pay, pal. Wherever you are in this state, you're going to pay for LEAP.
So the question that is being asked is, where are the provisions in the bill that would require the utilities to refund customers their money if, in fact, it does fail?
Right? It doesn't sound like there's any risk to the utility.
Right.
They are so...
You're subsidizing an idea at this point.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And they're doing this when they wave their hands and say, oh my gosh, we're running out of power. This is why. Because it's going to places like Eli Lilly. What's the issue with the water? They need so much water to fund these data centers and these mega corps and these mega buildings. They're going to be there. They got to steal it from other places. This is what this is about. We have told you time and time and time again on this program. The Holcomb administration and the Indiana General Assembly assisting all along the way is about gutting and destroying the landscape that we have come. I did an interview yesterday. Tom LaBianco, who's a longtime reporter here in Indianapolis. Many people will know him. He no longer lives in Indiana, but they're doing a piece. He's doing a piece on Micah Beckwith, and they asked me to sit down and talk about Micah. And one of the things we talked about, that Tom and I talked about, was why Micah is so popular with the base of the Republican Party. And I said, because people look around and they see how they keep getting a raw deal and everything keeps changing around them and getting more expensive for other people to have nice stuff. When Lilly comes in and goes in LEAP, how many of those workers are actual Hoosiers?
Right.
We don't know because it's through the Indiana Economic Development Corporation. When Meta comes in, how many of those people they're going to hire are going to be Hoosiers? Again, you won't really know. They're going to be people. So when you see these high-paying jobs, but it's not helping me. It's not helping you. We're not eligible for that. We don't get to benefit in that. We're subsidizing. Our money is being taken, whether it's tax money to the Economic Development Corporation, or now we're going to be forced to pay higher utility bills for these SMRs. So that all these foreigners, both foreign in the sense of they're not from the state of Indiana, and in many cases not from this country,
correct,
are going to come into our state, gut these farm fields, change the landscape, and people are looking around going, I'm sick of this crap. I'm sick of this crap, and nobody's fighting for us. And they see a guy like Micah Beckwith, and he is fighting for us, and that's why he's popular.
Yeah. It's the whole LEAP project, that whole area.
Braun has got to do something about this. And look, I know Braun has ties to the Gentrys. Matt Gentry's the mayor of Lebanon. His dad is one of the most powerful Republicans in the state. I know they have helped Braun at numerous times throughout his political life. Braun has got to step in and put a stop to this. Because if he doesn't put a stop to what's going on with the Indiana Economic Development Corporation and this LEAP district and all of this stuff, you are going to wake up and you are not going to recognize Indiana before too long. And you are going to keep paying over and over and over and over and over again. And clearly the General Assembly is not going to stop it. So Braun has got to lead, and Braun has got to put a stop to this.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It is 93 WIBC.
Oh, yeah, nobody has more fun in the afternoon than we do. We're the Hammer and Nigel Show. We start at 3:06, biggest stories in Indy, Hammer and Nigel Madness, Rob Kendall, off the rails, let's go.
Transform your home with Galaxy Concrete Coatings. Say goodbye to cracked, stained floors and hello to durable, stunning surfaces that last. Their cutting-edge technology ensures a beautiful finish every time, and you get to pick out from their many colors. Upgrade your home today like I did. Galaxy Concrete Coatings. They're for garage floors, driveways, pool decks, and patios. They come with a lifetime warranty and one-day professional installation. Call now for a free estimate. 877-417-0635. They're also online at galaxyconcretecoatings.com.
Hi, I'm Charlie Comer from Comer & Cross Premium Garage Floor Coatings. When your garage floor has stains, cracks, and pits, it makes your whole garage look bad. And a bad epoxy job looks even worse. Look, spring will be here on March 20th. For your best price of the year on your new garage floor, basement, or patio and installation this spring, please call me now at 1-800-NEW-FLOOR. Guaranteed, a Comer & Cross concrete floor coating won't chip, crack, or show tire lift like epoxy or paint ever. In one day, we make it so easy. We move your stuff out for you. We fix the cracks and pits perfectly. And apply your gleaming new Comer & Cross concrete floor in 6 stages, just in time for spring. For your best price of the year on your new garage floor, basement, or patio, and installation by spring, please call me now at 1-800-NEW-FLOOR. That's 1-800-NEW-FLOOR. Or go to COMERcross.com.
Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. How retailers become seamlessly restocking, cyber-securing, must-visit shops. And how healthcare offices become the data managing caregivers that we all depend on. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solutions, and Wi-Fi backup, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business, powering possibilities.
Now through May 4th, new customers can get started with 300 megabit internet and Security Edge for $69 a month for 24 months. And ask how to get free installation on qualifying bundles. Plus, find out how to get a $500 prepaid card on a qualifying gig bundle. Call today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Requires enrollment in paperless billing and automatic payments with bank account. Equipment, taxes, and other fees extra. After 24 months, regular rates apply.
Easy Cater. It's all the food for your workplace, all in one place. With over 100,000 restaurants nationwide on one platform. Whether you need food for company meetings or events, daily employee lunches, or your next lunch and learn, Easy Cater makes food for work, work. And it doesn't stop at lunch. With Easy Cater, you've got great breakfast options, snacks, treats, and more. Whenever and wherever work happens, Easy Cater's here to make the food happen. Order now at easycater.com.
Check out what's going on with 93 WIBC.
Listen to Hammer and Nigel this week for your chance to win a pair of tickets to see Brooks and Dunn with special guest David Lee Murphy Thursday, April 3rd at Cambridge Fieldhouse.
'Cause I was born lonely down by the riverside, learned to spin fortune wheels.
I went to St. Elmo last night, Rob.
How was it?
It was delicious and amazing. Crowded restaurant. I was surprised how many people were there. I mean, it is like the restaurant here in Indianapolis.
So your relative, who
family members were in town.
Yeah, your relative who was on with us yesterday, who was phenomenal, by the way. She is a polygrapher, and her job in law enforcement is to decipher who's full of crap and who's telling the truth. She was awesome. If you missed the 10 o'clock hour yesterday, she was with us. It was great. Go back and listen to that. Wait till Katz is on at noon, and then go back and listen to the podcast.
Yeah, from yesterday.
She was outstanding.
So I've heard nothing but about St. Elmo since forever, and finally made it there last night.
You never been?
Never been.
Oh,
yeah.
Fancy.
So tried the shrimp cocktail.
Yeah.
Wow, that sauce is hot.
I'm actually doing a St. Elmo's shrimp eating contest coming up next week.
How do you do that?
I beat Hammer a couple of years ago in the shrimp eating contest.
I just can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Like, how?
I mean, you gotta, because it's the sauce, right? It's not the shrimp, it's the sauce.
It is.
And I'm doing a shrimp eating contest for the women's NIT is going to be in town. And they had asked Hammer to do it. I guess they've got some local, I'm using this term very loosely here, right? Like celebrities that are doing this. And obviously Hammer's going to be on the air, I think, when the event's taking place. So they said, well, Rob might go do it because he's good at eating shrimp cocktail from St. Elmo's.
When you beat Hammer in that contest, how many did you eat?
It was like it was timed. It wasn't an amount. They gave us a bowl, and then you had to, whoever ate it faster. I just inhale food. I can inhale food, and then I'll pay the price later. So it was bad for like an hour afterwards because I mean that stuff is
it's staying with me today.
You got to I mean you got to eat it slowly. So I don't know. We'll see how that. We'll see how that goes next week. I think Hammer and I we'll talk about it with Hammer's segment when he comes in a little bit later.
Really cool place though.
Good.
But I did see some people outside of the restaurant.
Oh.
Yeah.
The people asking for change?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, those people.
Yeah. How was that? Was that a very endearing? So think about this. That is, you're talking about outside of St. Elmo, which is St. Elmo is the premium restaurant dining location in Indianapolis. When the Monday Night Football's here, they was hey, can't wait to go to St. Elmo, right? That is the place.
Yeah.
And the city is so incapable of cleaning up this problem that even outside the primo dining location in the city of Indianapolis, you're having to deal with the mixture of, and you never know which one you're going to get. Abdul and I've talked about this for years, that there's really three types of guy on the street, and they all pose their own issue. There's legitimate homeless person who, down on their luck, may have fallen on hard times. That does happen. You can help those people if they desire to actually get help. Now, some homeless people just simply don't want to be helped. And I don't mean to be crass to say that. They simply are comfortable. It's like people who are comfortable in prison. Some people are just comfortable being on the street. But the legitimate homeless person is really of no threat to you, right? It's kind of an eyesore. It's not a great visual, but they're really of no threat to you. The next one is the panhandler guy. Now, panhandler guy oftentimes physically is not of a threat to you because they're out there trying to make money and they care about their freedom. but they are an absolute nuisance on society and should totally be eradicated because they get in their car at the end of the day and drive home to their house, and they're totally capable of working, a legitimate job. And then there's the third guy, which is drugged out zombie guy.
So I saw all three last night.
See?
I saw the homeless. I saw the panhandler / drummer, someone who's, playing some music, looking for change, and then the addict.
Yeah. And drugged out zombie guy is the worst because you don't know what they're on. And are they a danger to them or a danger to you?
Right.
And the problem is they're all, as you experienced, they're all in the same soup together, and they all need to be dealt with differently. And in Joe Hogsett's time as mayor of Indianapolis, he hasn't effectively dealt with any of them.
No. And the drugged out zombie guy, that's the one we saw on the way back to the car.
Yeah.
Down an alley to get to the parking garage.
And they're everywhere.
It's like, oh, boy.
They're everywhere.
Yeah.
And I'm not implying that whether it is drugged out zombie guy or homeless guy. Look, panhandler guy is a whole different story. And I'm not so mad about the guy that plays the saxophone or the guy that pounds the bongos because that's not harming me. It's not bothering my existence, right? If you want to throw some change into that, doesn't bother me so much. It's the guy that comes up to you asking for money that is the bother. That person should be dealt with swiftly because they are nothing but a nuisance on society, and their arms and legs work, and they're capable of going and working a real job. But the legitimately homeless guy and then the drugged out zombie guy who is a legitimate danger oftentimes, not only to him or herself, but the people around them, that is the one they've really got to get a handle on because that is the sort of thing that keeps people from wanting to come downtown.
So there was something that I saw yesterday that it seems everybody's talking about now.
What's that?
It's property taxes here in Indiana.
Well, hot dang.
Both parties getting involved.
No, wait. Now, Kev, what's that? Like, can you give me a signal here? How long do we have?
We got 1 minute.
We don't have time to get.
We don't have time for this.
We have to wait till the top. So when we come back, the tease, right? The little inside baseball. You need to do a tease. The tease is that the Republican plan on property taxes is so pathetic that even the Democrats are mocking it now.
Right. But my question is, have the Democrats proposed a plan?
Well, no, they
or
don't.
Are they just making fun of the Republicans?
Well, you're right. They don't want you to have property tax relief either. Let's not kid ourselves.
They're just using it as a moment to troll.
But it's so pathetic that they're mocking. You actually go, yeah, that actually seems about right. These guys are spot on with this. So we'll talk about that. Plus, wasn't some other local news station doing property tax?
Yeah, it was their lead story yesterday.
They really ought to do something nice for us for how far we've driven this conversation. And we'll talk a little bit about where I think the property tax thing is. I've got some maybe breaking news on that, on some moving parts about what's going on. So we'll get into all of your daily property tax update.
It is Kendall Casey on 93 WIBC.
It's tax time, and tax time is your time to buy a new Nissan and get double your tax refund or down payment only at Andy Moore Nissan of Indianapolis. For a limited time, when you buy any new Nissan, Andy Moore Nissan will double your tax refund or down payment up to $5,000. That means your $1,000 becomes $2,000. Your $2,000 becomes $4,000. Your $4,000 becomes $8,000. This month only, Andy Moore Nissan will double your down payment up to $10,000. Worried about your credit? Don't sweat it. Good credit, bad credit, even no credit. Our credit experts will get you approved with the best terms with as little as $0 down on any new Nissan in stock. Andy Moore Nissan is making deals other dealers won't and approving deals other dealers can't. Andy Moore Nissan, 4302 Lafayette Road, Indianapolis, Indiana.
Community is defined as a group of people that have a shared interest or things in common.
Imagine a group of people where the shared interest is the truth of God's Word and speaking life over one another and each other's families. Hi, I'm Daniel Beckwith, the online campus pastor at Life Church, and that's the type of community you can find here. Just go to lifechurchin.com to find any of our locations and service times or special events. We're confident God has something here just for you. See you soon.
Brooks and Dunn, the best-selling duo of all time, live.
Something country.
Neon Moon Tour 2025.
Urban neon.
With David Lee Murphy.
A little dust on the bottom of that red dirt road.
April 3rd, Gamebridge Fieldhouse. On sale now at Ticketmaster. Brooks and Dunn Live.
The 66th Annual O'Reilly Auto Parts World of Wheels Custom Car Show. March 28th through 30th, Indiana State Fairgrounds. Discount tickets exclusively at O'Reilly Auto Parts stores. See America's finest hot rods, customs, trucks, motorcycles. The cars are the stars. All weekend. The O'Reilly Auto Parts World of Wheels Custom Car Show. March 28th through 30th, Indiana State Fairgrounds. Purchase discount tickets exclusively at O'Reilly Auto Parts stores.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go. Shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Coming up in 2 minutes from the Technology Recycler Studios, the death of a woman in Indianapolis led to a man getting prison time, but not a lot of it. You'll hear why. A police presence and an SUV on fire. You'll hear how that made for a busy intersection Wednesday night. And the madness resumes today. Those stories and more after Fox News on 93 WIBC. WIBC HD1 Indianapolis, and it's now 10 o'clock.
A wanted gang leader found. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
America is safer today because of one of the top domestic terrorists in MS-13. He is off the streets.
Attorney General Pam Bondi was in Virginia for the early morning raid that arrested the 24-year-old alleged MS-13 gang leader from El Salvador in the country illegally. FBI Director Kash Patel was also there.
This task force was stood up 1 month ago. In 1 month, the brave men and women on this task force from state, local, and federal authorities have arrested 342 criminals in the state of Virginia alone.
Now, President Trump posted on True Social, it's a big deal, thanking Bondi and Patel and Kristi Noem, the Homeland Security Secretary who was in El Salvador yesterday visiting the jail where more than 200 alleged Venezuelan gang members are now housed after being deported.
If you come to our country illegally, this is one of the consequences you could face.
A federal judge tried to stop the deportation flights and ordered no more, and an appeals court upholds that order.
President Trump had declared the Venezuelans to be a threat to national security, and under the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, he ordered them out. The latest ruling from the federal appeals court means the case can go all the way to the Supreme Court.
As Fox's Jill Nato, another appeals court has refused to lift another judge's order for the Trump administration to rehire tens of thousands of fired federal workers. And more layoffs are coming. The Department of Health and Human Services announced this morning a plan to cut 10,000 jobs in a restructuring that Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. says will reduce bureaucracy and refocus HHS on fighting chronic illness. Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney reacting to new 25% U.S. tariffs that will go into effect next week on all imports of cars, trucks, and auto parts.
We will defend our workers. We will defend our companies. We will defend our country.
President Trump warns on True Social if Canada or the European Union retaliate, he'll impose far larger tariffs on them. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level. on the go.
He sees it approaching. You've got a partly cloudy sky, and it's 46 in downtown Indy. I'm Sean Herrick. Here's what's trending at 10:02. Rain, wind, and tornadoes could happen on Sunday.
The chances for severe weather definitely ramp up over the next couple of weeks, as the pattern certainly supports it. So on Sunday, just make sure you have the means of getting watches and warnings, whether it's on your phone or TV. Make sure you're getting those up-to-date warnings.
Cody Moore with the National Weather Service in Indianapolis says there's also a chance for severe weather starting Friday. Gas prices spiked to start out last week, but now AAA has the Indiana gas average at $3.13 a gallon. That's down about 5 cents from Monday. A fatal crash. Motorcycle hits an SUV on the southeast side of Indianapolis Wednesday night. IMPD says the collision caused the motorcycle and the SUV driver to slide westbound on East Raymond Street, and eventually it hit a guardrail. Shortly after the SUV stopped, the motorcycle kept going until it caught on fire. The person on the motorcycle died, and the driver of the SUV stayed at the scene and had to submit to a blood draw. Accidentally shooting and killing his wife is what police say a man from Indianapolis did. Ryan Hedrick reports says he's only spending a little more than 3 months behind bars.
If you think that sentence sounds a little light, you're probably not alone. David Brinker signed a plea deal for reckless homicide Wednesday. On March 6, 2023, Dorothy Brinker returned home after she was out all night with friends. Indianapolis cops say she left in the family's truck. David tried to stop her. He had a gun in his hand, and he told IMPD that as he reached inside the truck, the gun went off. Prosecutors say they couldn't convince a jury that he intended to kill his wife. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
If the Purdue Boilermaker men's basketball team wants to advance past the Sweet 16, Purdue's head coach Matt Painter said this week that they can't go further if they don't play great offensively.
And that's not really pressure, that's just a fact. But the part of getting rebounds and getting more possessions there, we got to clean up our turnovers and keep rebounding.
They play number 1 seeded Houston Friday night just after 10 o'clock at Lucas Oil Stadium. If they win that game, they'd play Sunday. As for the men's basketball tournament games going on today, BYU taking on Alabama just after 7 o'clock, while Maryland battles Florida at about 7:40. It's Arizona and Duke shortly before 9:40. Then at roughly 10:10, Texas Tech dukes it out with Arkansas. I'm Sean Herrick on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. 10:04, Kendall and Casey coming back in 1 minute.
You know that feeling of a fresh, clean home? Well, spring is the perfect time to make it happen with Zero Res. Hi, this is Denny Smith. Think about everything winter left behind. Dirt, dust, allergens, pet dander, and maybe even some mystery stains. It's time to get Zero Resified. For a limited time, get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $119 and take $75 off air duct cleaning too. That's real savings on a deep clean. Zero Res's patented ZR water cleans with no soap, no residue, no harsh chemicals, just fresher carpets and cleaner air for your family. And don't take my word for it. Just check out 4,900 5-star Google reviews. Don't wait. Beat the spring cleaning rush and book today. Call 317-388-5141 or schedule online at zeroresindy.com. Call now. Mention WIBC, get 3 rooms cleaned starting at just $119 plus $75 off air duct cleaning. 317-388-5141 or zeroresindy.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
So, Indiana has the 3rd highest foreclosure filing rate in the United States.
That's scary.
Especially here in Marion County. It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC. So there were 544 filings in 21. And if you...
2021.
2021.
Yeah.
And if you go to last year's number, it has risen to 1,630.
So basically 3 times the amount of people are seeing their homes foreclosed in a 3-year span.
Correct.
And a big portion of that, because Wish TV had an article about this the other day, that a big driver of this is that people can no longer afford their homes because of the property tax / insurance associated with rising home cost increases.
Right. So they say the foreclosures, they're affecting neighborhoods across Indianapolis, especially ones around 38th Street, downtown, and the east side along 465.
Well, the whole system is broken. And I think that has become abundantly clear out of the past 2 months. One of the things, while we haven't gotten what we wanted yet in terms of policy, we now have an admission from many of the lawmakers that the system itself is completely broken and beyond repairing. There's too many layers to it. There's too many Band-Aids to it. We ran into this several years ago with the alcohol laws, where so much special interest has been a part of the equation. And when they were pondering Sunday sales and cold beer sales and all this other stuff, you just realize the whole system is totally corrupt in the sense of, with alcohol, too many people are getting too many benefits at the expense of everyone else, that you can't undo that because you've politically given away all of these benefits because they're donors, lobbyists, whatever. In the case of the property tax system, you have this convoluted mess where you are taxed based on what someone else did, which is unrealized gains, which is what we called Kamala Harris a Marxist and a communist for wanting to do in the election last year. It's exactly what they're doing. And you have heard from people like Ed Delaney when they've laid out you have more than 2,800 units of local government in this state. Many of them have little or no, not only purpose, but actual function. You can't have that existing and expect you're going to have a property tax system with those two things where you are taxed based on what someone else sells their home for, and 2,800 plus units of local government, many of them who have no purpose. You can't have that and think the system is going to function properly.
Well, we've talked many times about how these townships just have money sitting in banks.
Yes.
Just not doing anything.
Absolutely. And let me give you a great example of how screwed up the system is. I got to go to a meeting tonight in Warehouseburg, where I live over there on the west side, Brownsburg. And they're trying to create another tax increment finance district. So they annexed this area into town. This company bought this giant farm field. They want to be annexed into town. They want to put data center type things there. And for those of you who don't remember, I know we've talked about it before, tax increment finance is a mechanism that communities can use by which they essentially choke off tax revenue from development to the rest of the taxing entities. So all the money, like if you build a data center, all the tax revenue that data center pays it will stay in that area, and it will allow them to put infrastructure out there. Well, essentially what starts happening then is the data center, the taxes they pay, or the data centers, plural, or whatever these things are that go out there, they basically get a free ride because the tax money they pay goes to pay for their own infrastructure. They're basically funding their own stuff and getting a free ride. But the rest of the entities don't get that money because governments are addicted to bright, shiny objects. And so they want to go, look at all the stuff that came to Brownsburg. Well, you can't do it without the tax increment finance district. So that means the school won't get their portion of the property tax. The county won't get their portion. The library won't get their portion, et cetera, right? But yet we've heard and it also means the town won't get their portion because the TIF is a separate thing. The town's general fund, which we've heard, remember, if Braun's going to get his property tax reset, oh my gosh, our general fund, the policemen and the firemen. Right. But these communities are doing this exact thing every single day through these tax increment finance districts, that they're screaming bloody murder in terms of Braun wanting to have property tax rate resets. They're doing it, which means they're full of crap. So I got to go to a meeting tonight and say, wait a second, a bunch of you guys up here are so concerned about what's going to happen with the state. Well, you're choking off revenue to the very things you claim to be concerned about.
Right.
But you're doing it.
Yeah.
So when you do it, it's fine.
Right.
But when people actually want to get relief, if it's for a data center, some big giant monstrosity that you can go to a ribbon cutting for, well, that's fine. Now, look, tax increment finance gets a lot of crap, and it deserves it, because it's the sort of way that a $58.5 million taxpayer-funded hotel gets built in Carmel. But there is use to it. There is people who do use it for good. So I built several roads that went through the whole community through tax increment finance. But the point on all of this is the system is so screwed up. The system is so unsalvageable at this point, which is why in our 4-step plan, what was the thing we said? 3 years we're out of property taxes.
Right, exactly.
The system is unsavable. And as long as you keep trying to put Band-Aids on this system, it will never get fixed, and your property taxes will never actually be what they should be, and the governments will never be held to account the way they should be held to account. It's just simply one Band-Aid on a gunshot wound over one Band-Aid on a gunshot wound.
Governor Braun really needs to have a conference with Ron DeSantis in Florida, because in Florida they have no income tax, and now Ron DeSantis is saying we want to get rid of property taxes here as well.
So I was told yesterday by a little birdie that, have you noticed how the property tax issue in the House has disappeared?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not on the schedule.
Have you noticed for basically 2 weeks now after Jeff Thompson, the head of Ways and Means, had that ridiculous display that it just disappeared? Oh, and by the way, after our rally, you notice it disappeared? It just disappeared. I am told that there are some pretty intense negotiations going on right now, and that there will soon be a new, I was told it was an offer. I don't know if that's technically the right word or not, but a new offer from the House of Representatives to the governor.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know when that's going to be. I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know what it will entail. Here's the thing for Braun, though, and I'm sure he knows this. He doesn't need me to tell him. You cannot sign anything that does not provide property tax relief, like actual relief, not the crap that these guys are trying to peddle, and then when they get asked about it, we're decreasing the increase.
Yeah.
If Braun signs a property tax bill after the way people have stood behind him and the way he has leaned into this that does not provide meaningful tax relief, he will be a one-term governor. He will probably get primaried, and at the very least, his base will abandon him to the point he'll have a very hard time winning a general election because the base will feel that they were lied to again. The base believes in Braun on this issue. I've seen it. I've heard it. We've rallied for it. And he's going to have to remember that the best thing he can do is not take half a loaf in terms of property tax relief, actual relief that helps people. If he doesn't get it, just simply veto the bill, call a special session, and if they screw you over and they override your veto and they gavel out of a special session without anything meaningful, then you can look at people and go, I tried. But if you sign something or cut some deal, because you rest assured, Todd Houston has no interest in helping the people of this state. And that makes me very nervous when I hear things like that there's negotiations going on, because Todd Houston is not interested in helping us. If he was, he would have already done it. So the message to the governor has to be, do not sign. The worst thing you could do is cut some deal that doesn't do the thing that you promised to do. Politically, you would be infinitely better off on just saying, you bring this to the people, I'll veto it, call a special session, and we'll let the cards fall where they may.
So due to rising property taxes and homeowner insurance, Indiana's national rank in foreclosures, we had 1,201 foreclosure filings in January of 2025, so just 2 months ago. That equates to one foreclosure in Indianapolis for every 2,459 homes. It's the third highest rate in the country.
In the entire country.
In the entire country.
Yeah, I mean, it's a staggering number.
And WTHR had this as their lead story yesterday.
Thanks for inviting us in. It's now 11 o'clock, and we want to begin tonight with property taxes. Did you know that no city in our country has seen its property tax bills climb faster than Indianapolis? And tonight it was a focus for the members of the Indiana Black Legislative Caucus. Our Logan Gay has their conversation with the community from the newsroom tonight. Logan?
Okay, so now you have the Democrats who are picking this up as their talking point, and they tweeted out yesterday that the Republicans' current property tax relief plan will provide Hoosier homeowners with very generous annual property tax cuts of $48.10.
Pause, because we got to clarify that. They're not actual property tax cuts.
Yeah.
It's decreasing
the increase,
the extra amount you'll pay. So when they talk about savings, they're not talking about money actually going back in your pocket. You're still going to pay higher property taxes. You're just going to pay less higher than you've paid before.
Mm-hmm. They went on to list things that you could buy with all of the savings that the Republican plan is, and that includes a double quarter pounder with cheese meals from McDonald's.
It's so bad. The Republican plan is so pathetic. The party in 15 years, we've seen the party that brought us property tax caps and major relief have become so pathetic that now the Democrats are mocking what they're coming up with. It's just amazing how in such a relatively short period of time that Republicans have just abandoned the idea of protecting people's homes and property tax relief and reliable bills. And I mean, it's just amazing that they've walked away from all of this.
However, the Democrats have not released a plan.
Well, they don't have one. They
don't have a plan to solve it. And why is it that the radio guy has one?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the Democrats, yeah, you're right. The Democrats do not want to help you at all, period. So don't be confused that they're saying this like, oh my gosh, we have this great plan. They have no plan. They don't want to help you at all. They don't want any money to not go to the schools or whatever. All right. Hey, so what's going on with Ozzy Osbourne? What did you say?
Oh, him and his family, they were doing this podcast. They were sitting around. They were talking about Donald Trump. And at one point, they made a declaration about Ozzy Osbourne.
Oh, boy. And I disagree with this wholeheartedly.
Well, we're going to get to Nikki Kelly next.
Yeah.
And
that's right. Nikki Kelly joins us next.
She's going to join us. And then we have to talk about if you think that the Osbourne family is full of it.
Okay. So Nikki Kelly from the Capitol Chronicle, she has a great piece. We were talking about the LEAP district and the power and these SMRs and all the potential rate increases. And so we'll get to her, the new piece out in the Capitol Chronicle and touch on that. That's really big because it could affect your power bills.
It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
In the Matt Bear Tournament of Traffic, it's win and go home.
It's taken a lot of work to get here. You just want to advance through the field.
All right, traffic is really backing up on the south.
And to do that, you've got to drive the lanes.
2 vehicle crash blocking the left and center lanes.
You guys know this. You've got to find the openings and take your shots.
Updating your traffic bracket. Mornings and afternoons.
Prepare.
Construction backups brutal. Watch for the zone.
March Matt Bear Traffic Madness is on 93 WIBC.
PA Jewelers at the Farmhouse is now open. The same exceptional pricing, but with expanded selection. The Farmhouse. Built in 1888, the Farmhouse is now your place to find or create that special piece of jewelry. Gold, diamonds, gemstones, the watches. Oh, what a collection. All there at PA Jewelers at the Farmhouse. Now open. Check it out for yourself on Green Street. PA Jewelers at the Farmhouse. Online at pajewelers.jewelry. That's pajewelers.jewelry.
The deals and specials are sizzling hot. It's the Central Indiana Gun and Knife Show this Saturday and Sunday at the Stoutfield National Guard Armory on West Minnesota Street. The best dealers in the region, hundreds of tables, just $6 for adults, kids 12 and under free. Must be 18 or accompanied by an adult. Buy, sell, trade this Saturday 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Sunday 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Stoutfield National Guard Armory. For more info, visit CentralIndianaGunShows.com.
It's your last chance to get Disney Plus and Hulu together for just $2.99 a month.
Definitely a very smart move.
Get both and watch Star Wars Andor Season 2 and Mufasa the Lion King on Disney Plus.
There's a lot of stories with all of us.
On Hulu, it's the new season of The Handmaid's Tale and A Complete Unknown.
Give a warm welcome to Bob Dylan.
Don't miss your last chance to get Disney Plus and Hulu together for just $2.99 a month for 4 months. New and returning subscribers, 18 plus only. After 4 months, plan auto renews at $10.99 a month until canceled. Offer ends 3/30/25. Terms apply.
Spring's here, and it's time for a new patio. Indy Decorative Concrete is offering free demolition. Got an old deck? Cracked concrete? We'll remove it at no cost. Hurry, this offer ends April 30th. Go to indydecorativeconcrete.com for details.
That's why I'm blue, baby blue. I'm as blue as I can be. 'Cause my steady...
A lot of stuff going on with the Indiana General Assembly. A lot of things going on with Indiana politics and government. Let's find out what's the latest. We turn to one of the best in the business. By the way, it's Kendall Casey Show. I'm Rob Casey's here. Nikki Kelly from the Indiana Capitol Chronicle joins us now. Nikki Kelly, hello.
Good morning.
So you had a big article yesterday. Casey and I touched on this in hour one. I think this is a huge story about another problem related to the LEAP district. This time it's not water, it's power.
I mean, it's not a problem per se, but they have to ramp up, how they're getting electricity to the site. And so this is like a pro forma request they have to put in with the transmission operator for the Midwest. But the interesting part of it was it's showing a doubling of the demand for electricity in the LEAP Park. And so, we still just have Lilly and Meta apparently, although that contract has never been released or finalized. And so, we're already doubling the load. And so, to me, it sounds like Wabash Valley Power, who had to put in the notice, is they're going to tap into lines that they already have existing from Whitestown, but it's just something to keep an eye on as they build out that site. Electricity demand is becoming such a much bigger issue all around the state, and including in that site.
Okay, so that is. By the way, I wanted to touch on something you just said. They still don't. The stuff on the Meta contract, which was last fall, that's still not public.
No, we only found out about it because Lebanon city officials mentioned it. I did double check with IEDC this week, and they basically said, it's ready and will be added to the portal when Meta announces it.
Well, that's very transparent of them. Okay, so we talked about this earlier, these SMRs, these small modular reactors, and this is now becoming you guys, I think, did an article on this, that this seems like a rough deal for the taxpayers, that they're saying, well, we need more power in our state, we need more power in our society, which is fine, but we're going to let these power companies, these utilities, do these SMRs, and the ratepayer is going to be on the hook for it, whether it succeeds or not. And so it kind of ties into this. It's like, well, where is all this power going? What's it going for? How does it benefit me as a taxpayer? Well, you don't know because it's in the LEAP district, so we're not going to basically tell you anything. But we do know you're potentially going to be on the hook as a ratepayer for these SMRs because we need more power. It just seems very not in my favor as a taxpayer.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's short-term, long-term, and what lawmakers are looking at is long-term. We need to incentivize different options to bring down overall rates, but to get there, someone has to take a risk, and they're going to put some of that risk on ratepayers.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like there's much risk if you're guaranteed 80% back, whether you win or not. I mean, that seems like a pretty good. We need to get in the power business, Nikki Kelly. You and I need to start a power utility.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, Nikki Kelly, our guest from the Indiana Capital Chronicle. You had an interesting article, and you guys at the Capital Chronicle have been on this for a while now, and you have a column about this, which is transparency in the state of Indiana. We're doing some things well, you say, some things we got to do a lot better.
We are. I mean, overall, it was Sunshine Week last week, so I talked about it. I do think Indiana, for the most part, does a great job. The transparency portal's great. There can be some tweaks there, here and there. Some offices are better than others. Some agencies are better than others. I would like to celebrate a big win for taxpayers and transparency that we wrote about this morning, that in negotiations with the Braun administration, they gave us what the state paid for the execution drugs to restart executions, which was $900,000. It's a pretty large amount. We still don't know how much that is or what that means. I'm assuming that wasn't one dose.
Yeah.
Well, we had that. We had that conversation yesterday off air, which is, and I thought that was interesting. That it's like every time they give you a little bit, you're like, well, is that for 30 executions? Is it for one execution? Like there always seems like you have to just beg them for more information.
Yes, so we're still working with them, but I mean, Governor Braun administration has been more forthcoming than the Holcomb administration on this issue, so we appreciate, continued dialogue with them.
Just think, Casey, you could take me out for $900,000, and we don't know, is that several times or one time? We don't know.
We don't know. I mean, I would assume it works the first time, but I was surprised by that amount of money. It seemed like a lot, and Nikki seems to think the same thing.
Yeah, and when we tried to give other examples from other states, and some of these are more clear, more not. And also some of it depends on how many grams, how many vials, But what you can see in the examples we gave in the article is that the cost has exponentially grown since 2020. Like every year it's doubling because states, are having trouble getting these costs, so they can charge what they want.
Inflation is hitting even the death drugs, Casey.
Yeah, I know.
Nikki, do you think they're going to, because we've seen some of these other states go back to like the firing squad, but then there's a push to get rid of the death penalty in Indiana. Where are we at in Indiana with the death penalty and how we administer it?
Yeah, I don't see lawmakers getting rid of the death penalty in Indiana at all. I mean, they maybe might tweak a little of the protocols, but not this session at least. But I think most of them are pretty happy with it.
I was just going to say, Nikki Kelly from the Indiana Capital Chronicle is our guest. Go ahead, Casey.
I wanted to ask you, because Corcoran was executed back in December, and you guys had a reporter there, and you were the only media outlet that was permitted to be present. Was that kind of like, yay us, or yay us? Like, how do you view that, being the only media outlet?
I mean, I was happy in the sense of it had someone in the room that wasn't necessarily tied to either the defense or the prosecution. It, kind of nonpartisan isn't the right word for an execution, but, unbiased eyes to witness in case anything had occurred, to have a witness in there. I mean, obviously, Casey Smith did a great job for us on that. We are the only state with the death penalty, or there's one other state that doesn't allow reporters, in. We had to be invited in by one of the parties, and the warden approved it. So we appreciated that.
All right, so we got to close our time together today. It's Nikki Kelly Appreciation Day on the show because Nikki got a lot of grief for reporting the news. And, of course, we're talking about this thing with this kind of goofy rule where you can't film the Senate. And then Micah got into it with the Senate leadership. And, Nikki, you broke the story, and you actually sent me a message. Thanks for pushing back on Micah the other day. You said, look, Nikki Kelly's not the bad person here. That's news if the president of the Senate, the lieutenant governor, is getting into it with the Senate leadership. And I just want to say we appreciate all the stories that you break over at your Twitter and the Indiana Capitol Chronicle.
Just a tweet. But, yeah, look, I don't like the rule either. I got kicked out of the Senate balcony once, like 5 years ago, for taking photos. They've since changed that you can take still photos now, but not videography. When I saw Lieutenant Governor Beckwith's tweet with the video, which I recorded, by the way, it was a snazzy little video, and I thought, ooh, maybe they've, changed the rule like they did with the still photography. Alas, no. So, yes, I think we would love to be able to record from up there as well, too. We cannot. And I stupidly, because I'm inside the bubble, so to speak, to me it was just reporting this longstanding rule and didn't think that people, outside of this building, like, what rule, and so it definitely got some attention that wasn't expected. But, yeah, like I said, we're used to the rule, and I was hoping it had gone away, but it has not.
But this isn't like this is a law. This is just something to follow. And don't you feel like it's time that it's changed?
Yeah, I mean, I think, to play devil's advocate, what they don't want, because what you can see up there that you can't see on the live stream is the senators' desks. So you can see what's on their computer screens, whether they're playing solitaire, or conversely, whether they have sensitive information from a constituent on their computer screen.
I think you hit the nail on the head, Nikki. They don't want that thing that happened in Colorado where that chick got caught playing Candy Crush or whatever that was. Yeah, I think
in the House a couple of years ago, one of the lawmakers was caught buying ceiling fans, like
shopping.
Yeah.
Well, Merritt, this is how outdated it is. Merritt told us yesterday, he's like, yeah, we had that rule instituted because we didn't want too many tripods up there on the fourth floor. That's how stupid that rule is.
Yeah, it is definitely old. Like I said, the live stream is pretty direct just on the speakers, right? You can't see any senators' desks or anything. And so I think that's their concern. Although theoretically you could take a picture, I guess, and blow it up.
Well, we just wanted to come to your defense, and I think we did. I think you feel we did that quite well, because we said she's just reporting the news. That's her job. It is a big deal. It is a thing if the lieutenant governor is having a spat with the leadership in the Senate of this, especially the same party. That's a big deal. So congratulations, Nikki. You did nothing wrong.
Thanks, Rob and Casey.
No problem. It was just like a little slap on the wrist, I guess.
That's right.
But even that is newsworthy. Thank you, Nikki. This has been Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
The wind and the problems it can bring. You've got a sunny sky, and we're up to 49 on Monument Circle. 60 is this afternoon's high. I'm John Herrick. Here's what's trending at 10:31. High wind gusts supposed to ramp up this weekend all across Indiana with severe weather possible. Cody Moore with the National Weather Service says those gusts could reach up to about 30 miles an hour.
Once you get winds like that, depending on the structural integrity of your home, you can already start seeing, roof shingles fly off, siding fly off. And then once you get anything above, 70 to 80, that's when you start getting damage to, weakened structures, down trees.
Moore says tornadoes are possible, especially on Sunday. An arrest of a top leader of the MS-13 gang this morning. Fox's Tanya J. Powers.
Attorney General Pam Bondi says he's from El Salvador and has been in the U.S. illegally.
He was the leader for the East Coast, one of the top 3 in the entire country. Right here in Virginia.
The takedown was a joint effort involving the FBI, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, Immigration and Customs Enforcement officials, Virginia State Police, and the Prince William County, Virginia Police. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
And today is opening day for Major League Baseball. Some of the matchups include the Chicago Cubs against the Arizona Diamondbacks at 10:10 this evening. The Cincinnati Reds going up against the San Francisco Giants at 4:10 this afternoon. It's also a 4:10 start for the Chicago White Sox against the Los Angeles Angels. I'm Sean Herrick on the level, on the go, and on WYBC.com.
Hey guys, it's Rob. One of the things I love about the big tournament is it means spring is here. And while there's many things like warmer weather to love about spring being here, one thing I don't totally love is having to get my lawn back into shape. This year said, I'm not doing it on my own. So I called my friends at Save-A-Tree, the tree, shrub, and lawn experts. And making that call to Save-A-Tree and setting up a free evaluation, I feel like my yard's going to look great after some tough winter weather. Pros from Save-A-Tree can get your yard thriving, and that way you can enjoy it all summer long. Oh, yeah, and do it from the comfort of your own home while they do the work. To set up your free evaluation, head over to saveatree.com. That's SAVATREE.com. SAVATREE.com. Or just simply dial pound 250 on your smartphone. Use the keyword Save-A-Tree. Save-A-Tree are the tree, shrub, and lawn experts. Put them to work for you. Saveatree.com. Tell them Rob sent you.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season. I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Being young with unlimited energy to burn. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
All guys lose their edge when they turn 40. The body has less testosterone. That's why I take Nugenics Total T.
I've heard about Nugenics. That really works?
Since I started taking Nugenics, I'm lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. I feel more energized at work. It's even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try?
Yep, send a text. It's that easy.
Text ENERGY to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenics Total T. It's the #1 selling testosterone boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now and they'll also send you a bottle of Nugenics Thermo X, their newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text ENRGY to 42424. That's ENERGY to 42424.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Beds are us when dreams sunk in. Beds are us.
Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel, plus low to no monthly payments. Call 765-545-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsareus.com. 765-545-BATH.
Beds are us when dreams sunk in. Beds are us.
The April 15th deadline to file the FAFSA is fast approaching. When you complete the free application for federal student aid, you help your child access Indiana's nearly $400 million in financial aid, including programs like the 21st Century Scholarship. It also determines your student's eligibility for federal grants and scholarships for college or certificate programs. Visit studentaid.gov to get started. For complete information, go to learnmoreindiana.org/FAFSA. Paid for by the Indiana Commission for Higher Education.
Emmer and Nigel here, inviting you to join us as we kick off the weekend every Friday around 5:45 with Beer Sample Friday, brought to you by our friends at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIPC. It's time to hear from you. Kendall and Casey present voicemails.
Some guy who whenever I get an email, like an angry email, there's almost always some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And some guy sent me some big thing. So earlier and we touched on this with Nikki Kelly last segment too, but we did a big segment earlier on this power that has come out now that the LEAP district is going to require and how much power they're going to have to pump in.
and how that ties into the state now waving its hands in a panic, going, oh my gosh, we're running out of electricity or power. We need to give away the farm to these SMRs, these small, they're basically tiny modular reactors. Yes, thank you. They're basically tiny nuclear reactors, and part of the deal in the legislation that is, I think, eventually going to end up in front of the governor. Now, Braun said, somebody sent me a clip that Braun had said he was not for anything that ended up having a rate increase. But the legislation as it stands now, my understanding, says that these utilities can invest in trying to make these things work, and whether they succeed or not, they can pass the rate increase for the cost. They can pass the cost onto the taxpayer in terms of a rate increase. So think about this. Oh my gosh, we're running out of power. Well, you're pumping a gajillion watts of power into this LEAP district, and we don't know what's going on with that because we can't get any information. Oh, my gosh, we're running out of power. Well, maybe we should be more transparent about LEAP. Oh, my gosh, we're running out of power. And the only option are these SMRs, Casey, and we've got to give basically all of the development of that away, whether it's – can you imagine a business? Everybody would sign up for that business where you can't fail. The utility, which is a monopoly, by the way, you can't shop it. You cannot fail. Regardless, they can get their money back for this thing. And some guy got mad at me about, you're saying the technology is sketchy. It's not sketchy at all.
I think that's the same person who called and left a voicemail saying this technology's been around for a long time. But this is Senate Bill 424, and it says that these SMRs, it's the customers will, have to cover the cost before they're certified.
No, and there's a total mistake. If the technology's fine, then there's no need for them to say, well, if it fails, because it won't fail. It's unproven in terms of what they're trying to do with this. And that's how business works, right? But it doesn't work that way. If the government gives you a monopoly on something and people don't have competition, this is what happens when there's no competition. There's no capitalism with your utility. You get told who your provider is. They deal with the IURC, the Regulatory Commission, Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission, and whatever deal they strike with them, that's God. That's how it all works. So if the technology's fine, then strip it out that says that if it fails, they can't pass the cost on to you, the ratepayer.
Right.
If the technology's solid, the reality is this has not been used in this state before in this fashion, and clearly there must be some doubt if it's going to succeed or not. These utility companies fought for that language. This was a big deal. They fought for that language that if it fails, you still have to pay for it. But the point in all of this is we're pumping all of this power that could be used for homes and everything else into this LEAP district where we have no idea what's going on with that. So maybe we should stop doing that. Then maybe there won't be quite the issue with power.
You know what it reminds me of in a way? It's all the vaccines from COVID. You can't sue the company.
Right?
If something goes wrong here, they're covered. The government's got their back.
Oh, I love this. This guy closed with, oh, so this isn't an angry email? Just giving my opposing viewpoint. No need to be an ass. Dude, you work for a utility. Like, I'm going to pay more for this. I'm banking on right now my utility rates, your utility rates, Kevin's utility rates, my dad's utility rates. They're all going up because you know these people. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they do this if they know there's no risk? Can you imagine if somebody said you can start this business and there's no risk? If you fail, we'll just give you money.
Fantastic. Let's go.
Of course they're going to do this. And then when it succeeds, are they going to give the profits back to the
right?
Does
it work that way
this
too?
guy's acting as though these utility companies are running some sort of soup kitchen over here. So I just love anytime I get an angry email, there's usually somebody who has some sort of, tie to the thing, right? And I'm looking at his signature line. It's like, you work for utility, dude.
Yeah.
Get out of here with that.
So are the utilities going to refund customers their money?
If the technology's fine, if the technology's fine,
then why hedge your bet?
Right. Just say that we will assume all the risk.
We did get a phone call, 317-684-8444, and this one is talking about the 4-point plan.
Hi, Rob and Casey. This is me calling, and I have just spent an hour, 45 minutes, maybe even longer on the phone doing what you said, and calling the representatives and the state Senate. It took a long time to get anybody to pick up, but nonetheless, I did get some information. I called the auditor's office, the assessor's office, in regards to the 4-point plan. And if anybody in the 46268 area code would like those numbers, this is the numbers that will get you where you got to go. But Representative Delaney basically is the number is 317-234-9047. Haley is his assistant, and you give the message, and she just pulled up your 4-point plan. They were not aware of it, which I don't understand why. So that's a good number to have. And then our senator for this 46268, our area, is Fatty Kadora.
Oh, jeez.
I got the number 1-800-382-9467. Tyler is his assistant, and he did take that information as well. So I think it's good to get those numbers out to people that live in the 46268 area over here off of 86th Street. I don't know. I think we are District 8, I believe, but they've changed our map of, House reps and senators over the last 10 years that I've lived here, 13 years. And I just feel like we need to really put this information out. People need to do their due diligence, call, leave messages, and many of them had no idea about your 4-point plan, and it is rather good. So I told them to look it up on WIBC, and their assistants did.
She's doing the Lord's
hopefully
work.
They'll read it and get it to the appropriate places. Thank you for your work, Rob. I'm praying this goes through because our taxes are outrageous where we live, and there's no reason for it. Have a great day.
Well, with Delaney and Fatty as her esteemed representation.
Yeah, well, the second number was for the Senate Call Center.
Yeah, well, she's got she might as well just stab her eyes out because those two doing anything for property tax. Look,
why are her neighbors voting for those people?
The Democrats do not want tax reform, any of it. So we can laugh at how they're trolling the Republicans on this, but they don't want it either. They don't want to help you. And I think that's what's frustrating is nobody seems to want to be leaning into helping you. Right? I mean, other than Braun, Braun seems like, Andrew Ireland spoke at our meeting, and that was great, and J.D. Prescott spoke at our meeting, and that was great, and Craig Haggard spoke, and it was great. But where is the actual leading? Where is the actual front and center? Here's a coalition of us, right? And here's our plan. Nobody's offering a plan. That's what my video was about. Like, here's a plan.
Right.
You don't like it? Tell me what's wrong with it, right? You don't like it? It doesn't work? Tell me what's wrong with it. But what do you have? Nobody's offering anything other than Braun. Like, why is that? Why is there not a group of senators and House members, some coalition? Hey, we've banded together, and here's the compromise based on what we've seen, and here's what we're going to... Nobody's doing anything. And now it's just disappeared.
Yeah.
And it's all going behind the scenes, which is not good for anyone.
Being pretty quiet about everything.
Yeah, it's all disappeared. And if Todd Houston is in charge of negotiations, that ain't going to end well for anybody.
We've got one more phone call, another quick one. This is also about the 4-point plan.
Kendall and Casey, I was just listening to that gentleman saying you need to run a campaign for your 4-point program. I would say it'd be easier to run a campaign to get rid of our elected officials than it would be to do a 4-point program that they're not going to listen to. Why don't we just run a campaign to get rid of them and hire people that'll do what we need them to do instead of trying to cajole them into doing what's right. That's all I got. This is Tim, the driver. Thanks. Bye.
Well, he's right. You're going to have to beat these people, and they're banking on you not being able to do that or stay organized enough across the state that they'll lose enough where it'll matter. Here's the reality of this. You're going to get a crap plan out of the House, okay? Just accept it. You got a crap plan out of the Senate. Braun is the key in all of this. Braun has to stand firm, and if Braun stands firm and vetoes whatever garbage they give him, he will be a hero to his base. And then calls a special session and put it back on them. Make them override the veto. Use all the arrows in your quiver. There's only so much you can do as governor, right? We have a very low threshold in terms of legislative authority. But don't give in to these people. Make them keep playing the game. If you sign some bad bill in the name of compromise, that you are going to be a one-term governor.
Right.
And I don't think you'll do that.
And we'll be the ones paying for it for years to come. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Oh, yeah, nobody has more fun in the afternoon than we do. We're the Hammer and Nigel Show. We start at 3:06, biggest stories in Indy, Hammer and Nigel Madness, Rob Kendall off the rails, let's go.
Hey guys, it's Rob for Universal Windows Direct, and right now it is the tax time sale. Save big while making your home more comfortable and energy efficient. 3-point plan. we had a 4-point plan for property taxes. They got a 3-point plan to help you with your windows. First of all, buy 2 windows, get 2 free. No limit. Need 4, you only pay for 2. Need 20, you only pay for 10. And point 2, pay no interest till 2030. That's right. No interest for the next 6 years, making it easier than ever to afford the quality windows your home needs. And point number 3, Universal Windows Direct is giving you an extra $500 off your home improvement project. So buy 2 windows, get 2 free. No interest till 2030 and $500 off your home improvement project. Now, some restrictions may apply. So to get all the details and schedule your totally free in-home estimate, call Universal Windows Direct right now. 317-659-7574. 317-659-7574. Visit them on the web, universalwindowsdirect.com, universalwindowsdirect.com. Tell them Rob sent you.
Indiana patients rely on many types of pharmacies to access their medications and critical healthcare services. But a proposal being considered in the Indiana legislature called SB 140 would disrupt access to medications for Indiana patients. SB 140 would impose government mandates blocking access to critical pharmacy options and services in Indiana. Lost access to pharmacy options would directly harm many of Indiana's most vulnerable patients, including patients fighting cancer and heart disease, many of whom rely on specialty pharmacies for their care. SB 140 would even hike costs for Indiana patients by imposing a $10 tax on every prescription filled in the state. That would often fall directly on the patient. Tell your state legislator, protect access to medications, reject higher costs. Put Indiana patients first by voting no on SB 140, paid for by conservatives for lower healthcare costs.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out collection letters, garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it even harder to get out of debt. Don't let tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in taxpayer assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Let them fight on your behalf, helping to put your tax problems to rest. Call the tax professionals at Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-367-6289. 800-367-6289. 800-367-6289.
Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
You love spring and Indy, but you hate to paint, so do what Judy did. She called Rhino Shield.
The house that Rhino Shield did for my husband and I, after having the house painted with kind of usual house paint, I was seeing cracks appearing about every 3 years and just wasn't very satisfied with that.
Rhino Shield's a ceramic coating specifically formulated for our unique climate.
I can't speak highly enough about the Rhino Shield crew. They also were great at working with me to get the exact right color because I was very particular.
Indy, you too can have the guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield right now for 15% off the regular price.
I would not hesitate to call Rhino Shield, and I am just thrilled to recommend Rhino Shield to my friends and neighbors and family.
Here's Rhino Shield's Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino.
Paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go. Shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit NoTimeToWait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Kendall and Casey.
I'm a young, up-and-coming professional. We are people who want to work. We want to engage. We don't want to be freeloaders. And yet, it makes it very hard for young people to actually do that.
Kendall and Casey, 9 till noon on 93 WIBC.
Did you see Casey's well-assembled relative yesterday?
I did. I saw her the day before as well. Like, I think you guys missed a big opportunity because she's somebody that is really good at
telling whether or not you're telling the truth or lying.
Yeah.
Right?
You're Jason Hammer, by the way.
Thank you. Yes.
I'm Rob. That's Casey.
Yeah.
Yeah, your well-assembled friend. I think you missed a big opportunity. Like, I could have came in here and we could have done a lie detector test live on the air.
Yeah.
Looking her right in the eye. Is Rob Kendall a weasel? Yes.
Yeah, she was like, I didn't want to push it. I didn't know if you wanted me to bring, the equipment with me. And I was like, oh, man. And so,
next time for sure. Let's go full, meet the parents. Like, hook me up to that.
There was so much good stuff she had, though, that I wanted to ask her about. And then I found out she was in the Chris Hansen investigation type of stuff. So I had to get all the details on catching the child sex predators.
Yeah.
I love the Hansen stuff.
You do. You the way you watch To Catch a Predator, like when I go to sleep at night, like there's always a show that's on in the background.
Something light normally, or
it's
sports.
Like Big Bang Theory or a degenerate ball game or something.
Yeah.
Rob goes to sleep to Catch a Predator.
I know. It's so disturbing.
And she just casually brought that up, and I was like, oh my gosh, you were involved in the real Hansen Sting type of stuff. So we had to get all that information.
Yeah.
What's going on with you?
Big weekend, Rob. You and I got a new podcast coming out today. Sweet 16 college basketball, big matchups here in Indy. Those games are tomorrow, but we've got action tonight for college basketball. The tournament is ongoing, so we've got that.
We got our bet, by the way, the bracket. So the bracket is basically tied. I'm up 1. You're in a better position, though. I think you got more teams left, and it's basically going to come down to three sets. If I've got Houston, you've got Tennessee. I've got Duke, you've got Alabama.
Right.
I've got Auburn.
I've got Michigan.
You've got Michigan. So basically that's
Michigan was my upset to make the Final Four. If Michigan wins, Rob's in trouble.
Yeah.
If Michigan gets beat, I think it's going to come down to the Final Four.
Yeah. So
what's at stake here with this bet? Remind everyone.
So the loser has to send a tweet to the politician of the winner's choice.
And the other person gets to craft the tweet, too.
Yeah.
So let's say that Rob beats me. He would make me tweet at Indy Mayor Joe. I don't think you have a drinking problem at all. As a matter of fact,
you're great.
I think you and Thomas Carl Cook have gotten a bad rap, and all these women are lying. I mean, everybody's lying but you. I believe you.
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
I can't wait.
So, I mean, it really is. There's 3, since my St. John's told my bracket to have a nice life, I'm basically down to I got 3 teams remaining that can save this thing for me, which is weird because I'm winning, but I feel like I'm losing.
Right. You had a great first round.
Yeah.
I had a much better second round. But again, these brackets and pools, it comes down to who gets the winner right. If you get your national champion right, that's 6 points. That's 6 games in round 1.
That's right.
So
that's right. Yep. So still a long way to go.
Went down a rabbit hole on something the other night. So I'm channel surfing. I'm going through, there's nothing really on. Pacers weren't playing. There wasn't a tournament game on. And I saw the movie Ted. You know the movie Ted, right? The teddy bear.
Yeah.
There's a great scene in there, and it's fictional, but they're watching the bonus coverage of the Cheers DVD, and it's Ted Danson just making fun of Woody Harrelson's, number of different areas on his body, and I started thinking, okay, Cheers was an awesome show. I love Cheers. Taking Cheers out of the equation, which fictional bar would be your favorite?
Oh.
And do you have like a Mount Rushmore of bars?
Moe's.
Yeah, from The Simpsons.
Moe's Tavern.
Yes. Moe's, I think Aerosmith has played at Moe's.
That's right. Yes, think of all the things that have happened at Moe's.
They've had the Love-Matic Grandpa machine at Moe's.
What's the one on Family Guy? What's the
Drunken Clam?
That'd be another good one.
The Regal Beagle
that
in
was
Three's
mine.
Company.
That's
yeah,
right.
Get yourself a white wine spritzer.
The Regal Beagle. You got Mr. Furley walking around with his ascot and Jack and Larry. Like Larry will walk in there wearing nothing but a towel looking for twins.
Yeah, that's
Jack, twins now.
Yeah, and which do you prefer? Do you prefer Don Knotts or the other incarnation of the
Norman Fell?
Yeah,
Fell came first.
Yeah.
Mr. Roper came first. Then they had their own spinoff. I was always a Furley guy.
Yeah.
RF, Ralph Furley.
Yeah, you like the suits. I think there's a couple bars. I'm surprised you haven't mentioned Bada Bing from the
Bada Bing is
Sopranos.
on the list.
That's right.
That seems like a place you would
Sopranos, yes.
frequent.
What about the Boar's
Casey.
Nest? The Boar's Nest do anything for you from Dukes of Hazzard?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Boss Hogg's facility.
Yeah.
Listen, say what you want about what's going on in Hazard County. You can't tell me the food wouldn't be amazing and the drinks wouldn't be potent inside of the Boar's Nest.
Right.
Boy, that is a great question. When you take
good call.
Cheers, obviously Cheers is the creme de la creme. But when you take Cheers out, isn't it amazing? 2 cartoons are on the
Double Deuce, but only if Dalton and Wade Garrett are working.
Left boot.
Because if either one of those guys have an off day, if they're taking PTO, I don't want to see the Jeff Healy band that bad to the point to where I want to get stabbed.
It's just a lot of fighting in that bar.
Which I'm okay with, but I don't want dudes walking in wearing snakeskin boots with knives on them.
Yeah.
I trust Dalton and Wade Garrett to take care of that.
Now, does this count as an official bar? The bar in the Delta House in Animal House?
No.
Well, John Belushi does say they took the whole bleeping bar.
Yeah, I've got a bar in my office, but I don't think we
that
count
doesn't count.
No.
You can't do commerce there.
Right. It's got to be somebody that has a liquor license.
Gotcha. Okay.
I love that we're concerned about Mo and the Drunken Clams liquor license. I wonder if their papers are in order.
What was the name of the bar they go to in Goodfellas? Oh, I can't think of it.
Now, see, you're melding movies and TV shows now.
Movies and TV, yeah, because I can go to the Double Deuce, which is in Roadhouse.
That's true. Yeah, good point. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I can't remember what the name of it was. I think it was the Bamboo Lounge. I could be wrong. YouTube chat, let us know.
What about Lobby Bar in Dumb and Dumber?
The Suite, it was called.
Sure went to the right place? Yeah, Lobby Bar.
We've landed on the moon.
It was known as the Sweet Lounge.
The Sweet Lounge, okay.
In Goodfellas.
That bar they're always at in How I Met Your Mother. I never watched the show, but it feels like 90% of the show was filmed there.
Big Place, Alpine Drive. What's coming up this afternoon?
Oh, our pal Tom Sutton from Coaches. Patty's from Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
What's that supposed to mean? She has dinner there.
This afternoon, we've got Rob Kendall off the rails, FOP President Rick Snyder, and a huge matchup in Hammer and Nigel Records Madness. Nigel Tradition against Cocaine in the Ukraine.
Nice. Thanks, Hammer. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
The deals and specials are sizzling hot. It's the Central Indiana Gun and Knife Show this Saturday and Sunday at the Stoutfield National Guard Armory on West Minnesota Street. The best dealers in the region, hundreds of tables, just $6 for adults, kids 12 and under free. Must be 18 or accompanied by an adult. Buy, sell, trade this Saturday 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Sunday 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Stoutfield National Guard Armory. For more info, visit CentralIndianaGunShows.com.
Why pay more for prescriptions? Stop overpaying and start saving with SingleCare. It's easy. Find your prescription on SingleCare.com, show the coupon at the pharmacy, and start saving. SingleCare works at pharmacies nationwide and is completely free to use, whether you have insurance or not. So the next time you fill a prescription, check SingleCare to make sure you're getting the best price. Take control of your prescription costs. Go to SingleCare.com or download the free app today.
It takes everyone in the community working together to create a brighter future. Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Visit liveunited.org to learn how you can help.
Coming up in 2 minutes from the Technology Recycler Studios, you normally use water for nourishment, but water's causing some issues in Indianapolis right now. You'll hear how. What's all in an executive order signed this week by Indiana's Governor Mike Braun, and what kids who like math might be happy to hear. Those stories and more after Fox News on 93 WIBC. WIBC HD1 Indianapolis, and it's now 11 o'clock.
A gang leader in the U.S. illegally busted in Virginia. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
This is what can happen when you put good cops in good places to take on bad guys.
FBI Director Kash Patel was there at the early morning raid. Fox's Tanya J. Powers reports it captured an alleged MS-13 leader.
The 24-year-old was taken in without incident. Attorney General Pam Bondi says he's from El Salvador and has been in the U.S. illegally.
He was the leader for the East Coast, one of the top 3 in the entire country. Right here in Virginia, living half an hour outside of Washington, D.C.
The bust comes a day after Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem went to El Salvador, visiting the jail housing more than 200 alleged Venezuelan gang members deported on controversial flights. A federal judge tried to stop.
This facility is one of the tools in our toolkit that we will use if you commit crimes against the American people.
Now, an appeals court has upheld that judge's order, blocking more deportations under the Alien Enemies Act invoked to remove those Venezuelans without hearings. European leaders are in Paris discussing how to further help Ukraine battle Russia amid U.S.-led ceasefire talks with both sides. France's president just said that some of his allies do not support a European peacekeeping force for Ukraine, but he says France and Britain are moving ahead, making plans to deploy troops. And as the war rages in Gaza, Israel takes out another Hamas leader.
Abdul Latif al-Qanua was killed in an Israeli airstrike in northern Gaza. The Hamas spokesman, the third senior figure killed since Israel resumed its offensive. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu warning Hamas that the military action will intensify if the remaining hostages aren't released. Meanwhile, in a rare display of dissent, thousands of Gazans have marched for a second day in protest against Hamas.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. On Wall Street, the Dow is up 26 points, but GM stock's down 7%. Ford's losing 3% on concerns about new U.S. tariffs set to go into effect next week on imported cars and trucks as well as foreign auto parts. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Water on the streets, and nope, it's not rain. Partly cloudy and 51 degrees in the Circle City. I'm John Herrick. Here's what's trending at 11:02. There's lots of flooding at 22nd Street and Dr. Andrew Brown Avenue right now because of a broken water main. That's on Indy's north side, just south of Frederick Douglass Park. An apartment building in the area is also dealing with significant flooding. You're being urged to avoid the area as workers try to get it cleaned up. Severe weather is possible in Indiana soon. Ryan Hedrick reports.
Strong winds hitting 40 miles an hour could knock off your roof, shingles, and the siding to your home.
Then once you get anything above, 70 to 80, that's when you start getting the damage to weakened structures, down trees.
Cody Moore at the National Weather Service.
Damaging winds, whether it's straight line or tornado of 70 or 80 miles per hour, they can cause the same damage.
He says as severe weather approaches on Sunday,
you should be treating a severe thunderstorm warning just like you would treat a tornado warning sometimes.
Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
State departments need to publicly report permitting data to improve transparency and efficiency in the permitting process. That's what Indiana Governor Mike Braun is saying, and that's part of the reason he signed an executive order on Wednesday to make sure it gets done. More on what else is in the order at WIBC.com. A Supreme Court ruling that says some DIY gun kit firearms could be regulated if they're complete enough to constitute a firearm does not mean the court could say a semi-automatic gun could be regulated the same way as a fully automatic. Indiana gun rights attorney Guy Relford says the court made the plan with the bump stock case last year.
Because they make very clear there that being kind of sort of like an automatic firearm is not being an automatic firearm. And a bump stock that replicates, for instance, the rate of fire under some conditions doesn't get you, quote unquote, close enough to where you can regulate it like a machine gun.
He tells WIBC's Tony Katz some people think it's a slippery slope, but he doesn't think so in this case. New legislation being discussed at the Indiana State House that legislators say will challenge kids academically, but in a healthy way. It allows middle school students meeting certain criteria to be automatically enrolled in advanced math courses to be better prepared for high-level math and STEM opportunities. Parents can also opt them out at any time. State Representative Michelle Davis of Whiteland says teachers are delivering.
They, along with parents, have worked tirelessly to ensure students are receiving the necessary support to be successful in their education.
This legislation was approved in the House. Now it's being reviewed by the Senate. I'm John Herrick on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. It's 11:04. Kendall and Casey coming back in 1 minute.
Are you planning for your retirement? Ensure you're on the right track with a crucial step, tax planning. At Absolute Wealth Management, LLC, every retirement plan we design includes comprehensive tax planning. Imagine maximizing your savings while minimizing tax burdens. Tax planning isn't just about the present. It's a cornerstone for retirement planning. The less you have to give to Uncle Sam, the more cash flow you have in retirement. So take control of your financial situation. Proper tax planning can help optimize your retirement income, leaving you with more time to enjoy the life you've worked hard for. Let us help help you create a tax-efficient retirement plan. Your future self will thank you. Call Absolute Wealth Management, LLC, 317-288-0634. That's 317-288-0634. Or visit AbsoluteWealthManagementLLC.com. William Gonzalez offers investment advisory service through Gradient Advisors, LLC, 877-885-0508, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Absolute Wealth Management is not a registered investment advisor nor an affiliate of Gradient Advisors. Gradient Advisors, LLC, and its advisors do not render tax, legal, or accounting advice. Insurance offered through William Gonzalez, independent agent.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIPC.
Hey, you were featured in a big article, Rob. Are we going to talk about that today?
Oh, I don't like to talk about myself, Casey.
I'll talk about it then. We'll do that coming up,
very
okay?
Shy, very, very, very shy, and I hate when people give me compliments.
Yeah, you're so shy, so humble. So just, we'll shine the light on you, though, because it was very complimentary towards you.
Well, it was complimentary to us as a collective. It was complimentary. Look, we talk about this all the time, that we are but a voice of you. We are just two people who reflect your voice every day, and we are blessed to have the platform to be able to do that. And so when people write or say good things about us or promote us, they're really promoting you because you are it. You are the thing. You are the person who drives. We are the guy in the conductor's seat, right? But you are powering this engine forward. And this was a very, very nice piece by Adam Wren, who writes for Politico, and then he has a paid subscriptions newsletter that covers Indiana politics and government called Importantville, and he made he was very nice and made me a feature piece on what we do in the property tax rally and relationship with the governor. And so, yeah, we can get into that later or whenever.
We'll get into that in just a little bit. But
I don't like talking about myself. You know this. So.
Right, sure. Of course not. Let's talk about Elon Musk then. And more people seem to be getting upset with him. And this time it's about some of the downsizing with the Social Security Administration through office closures and cutbacks on phone services and new rules requiring in-person visits for prospective beneficiaries.
Isn't it fascinating how we don't in this country want to really have honest conversations? And you see that play out front and center with our politics and our government when it comes to Medicare and Social Security. These are two programs that math, not opinion, but math, which we all accept as a universal standard, right? The very math they teach us in our public schools. Math tells you sooner rather than later that thing is out of money.
Yeah.
And we've known this for generations now because as you have people living longer and fewer people paying in for every person that's on the thing, you're going to run out of money. And yet anytime there is a proposed reform to this very broken system, people scream bloody murder and they try to politicize it and they want to turn you into some guy who wants to kill every person over the age of 65. And I look at this and I say, these politicians are so dishonest and they so lack the ability to be forthright and frank with the American people. They are content to let this thing go into the abyss. They are content to let this thing go and solve it. And you watch when it does, they'll point at everybody but themselves. They'll point the finger at everybody but themselves, even though they've had decades to fix and correct the situation that they have created.
Decades and decades, of course.
Why is Social Security even a thing in the modern era anymore? All we hear is how well the stock market does. All we hear is how well...
Because the government thinks that they can invest your money better than you.
That's right. Even though you're spot on, Casey, even though clearly evidence to the contrary, look at the rate of return on Social Security versus the rate of return on any even basic CD or investment.
Right.
You're totally getting screwed.
Yeah.
It's socialism. You're paying for other people's stuff. I would take this deal right now. If they came to me and they said, Rob, you no longer have to pay into Social Security, but you're going to lose everything you've already put in. I would take that without a debate and without a discussion and say, congratulations, Casey, the first year's on me, right?
Right.
But, I mean, without...
Well, you're younger. You still have time to make that up.
Yeah, but I just accept that's not going to be there for me. Certainly not in its current form.
Right.
And I'm tired of people, peeing on me and telling me it's raining, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm just sick of it. Just be honest with me. We're all adults here. Kevin is not getting Social Security as it exists, right? I mean, Kevin's a decade younger than me, and I'm younger than you. That would make you
Older than you.
Yes, that's right. And but it may be there for you, maybe, I don't know, at least for part of the time.
Yeah.
But for me, not in its current form, not if math continues, why wouldn't it? And certainly not for Kevin. So why wouldn't you have Kevin's almost 30. He can have an adult conversation. You can look at Kevin and go, hey, Kevin, the people before me really screwed up.
Yeah.
And I'm really sorry that they screwed up in the way they did. But we can either pretend that they didn't screw up and then you'll get screwed, or we can figure out how to fix it. Kevin, which one of those two approaches would you prefer?
I'd like to see how to fix it.
Yes, thank you. Yes, as would I. I would love to have that conversation. Hey, Rob, we got to raise the age to 66. Okay, now we're being honest with each other. But the idea that we'll just do nothing, or if you want to reform like Musk is trying to do, find waste and abuse in the system, that you hate old people, who is that helping?
Yeah. I've heard a lot of people saying that they think that they should lower the age to be able to collect your Social Security, because by the time you reach that age, your knees are gone, you're not as active potentially as if you're younger. So you've worked, you've contributed, you want to be able to use that money for your life.
But what if I just said I don't want to contribute and I'll take
the
risk?
Right. That should be an option.
We are
select yes or no.
One of the major issues is we are a safety net society, and that means we refuse to allow people to fail. And sometimes, I'm sorry, to better society, people have to be held accountable for poor choices. And in this case, math tells you this thing is running out of money. This thing is 10 years from now likely not sustainable in its current form. And instead of, there's still time. We could still have a direct conversation with each other and figure out how to fix it. But we don't want to do that in our society because politicians are not willing to pay a political price. I told you, not the article we're going to talk about from Adam Wren, but I did an interview yesterday with a guy named Tom LaBianco, he's a freelance journalist now, but he worked here in Indianapolis for many, many years, broke a lot of stories. People probably remember his name. And he's working on a story for I think it's the Indiana Citizen, for a big expose on Micah Beckwith. And so I sat down with Tom I've known him for many years, and sat down with him for about an hour. And one of the things that he talked about is, I said, Micah is having hard conversations with people. He's willing to be honest with people and say, here's what I believe about things, and here's what we need to do to effectively make change. And sometimes those conversations,
you don't want to hear it.
It's uncomfortable with people, right? Because this thing's always been the way the thing has always been. And we need more people, in this case like Micah, but in our system, our political system, that are willing to say, you're an adult, I'm an adult, we need to have an adult conversation. And in this case, the adult conversation centers around this system. These systems, Medicare too, are running out of money rapidly. And let's make some tough choices together that we can all agree on while we have time, and make the best of a bad situation rather than just letting the thing implode on itself.
So, of course, Chuck Schumer came out and he said that these changes that Elon Musk is trying to make is a covert attempt to undermine Social Security.
It needs to be undermined, doesn't it? Doesn't it need? It needs, just like many other things, it needs to be gutted. If you want to rebuild it in some fashion, fine. If you want to say everybody above a certain age, the reality is the most likely scenario where you can make this work is to say the following things. If you're above a certain age, no change for you. If you're below a certain age, you have, a couple of different options. Let's come up with some ways on, you can either accept a later payout, a smaller monthly payout. And then if you're below a certain age, you've got the option to opt out.
Opt out.
Right? In which you don't get what you've paid in, but you're done. You're no longer a burden on the system, right?
Yeah, for somebody like Kevin, in his age, it's got to be so frustrating and infuriating knowing you're paying into something every week. You get your paycheck, they're taking it out, you have no say in it.
Right.
And it's not going to be there.
I see it on my paycheck all the time, and it infuriates me because I know they're lying to me about me getting the benefit. They're lying to Kevin about him getting the benefit, and that's what's infuriating to me. It's the lying, it's the deception, it's the inability to look me in the eye and say, man, we've really screwed up. This seemed like a good idea when it was instituted, maybe was when it was instituted to protect the older and most vulnerable, but the reality is now that this does simply not work anymore, and let's fix it together.
So Chuck Grassley, he's the representative from Iowa. He said that he was unaware of Doge's actions.
Well, time out. Chuck Grassley is 9 million years old, so he may have been unaware that he put his pants on in the morning.
This is true. There were some other senators, the one from Louisiana, the one from Montana. They expressed the same thing. They reported that they were not consulted on any changes that Elon Musk was going to make. So,
whoa, time out. Why would they need to be consulted? They've been a part of this, creating the system that has failed.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Elon Musk is there, to fix, oh boy, I almost said it, to fix their mess ups. That's why Elon Musk is there.
This seems to be a communication issue, but it almost goes to your point of honest communication. Just tell it like it is.
Yeah, I don't want those people consulted
because
anymore.
They're all coming across as hucksters at this point.
Well, yes, they are. It's these entitlements are, and everybody there's people get mad every time.
Entitlements, Rob.
You are. If you are entitled to receive it, it's an entitlement. Yeah. I'm not saying you didn't pay into it. I'm saying if you're entitled to receive it, it's an entitlement. Like, it's ridiculous to me. We have a bunch of grown people who listen to this radio show, and there's a handful of them who always lose their mind when we say that. If you're entitled to receive it, it is an entitlement. That's how words work, right? So, I mean, it's legalized vote buying. That's what these things are. They're legalized vote buying, and it's now legalized lying about legalized vote buying. That's how bad the system's getting. We've moved past the legalized vote buying phase, and now we're into the legalized lying about legalized vote buying.
We're going to talk about your article, and we're also going to hear from the Osbornes and see what you think about their claim.
He's full of it. They're full of it.
Okay. Well, you can offer up your input on who actually would be correct. It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Life moves fast.
Another new directive from Donald Trump.
President Trump will not be deterred to make our federal government more efficient.
So does the news.
We expect those meetings to take place very soon.
Decisions made today.
I'm not a big fan of the Atlantic.
No threats to national security.
Could impact you tomorrow.
Accountability and transparency.
What's next?
You never know what's going to happen.
Need to know what happened.
We're already tracking it. Stay in the know while you're on the go on 93 WIBC.
It's dent season, the time of year Mother Nature decides to take out her aggression on your vehicle. Don't paint your car, go PDR with Kill a Dent Removal. PDR is paintless dent removal that saves your factory finish and is way less invasive than traditional body shop repairs. And it's faster too, sometimes same day. Google Kill a Dent Removal and check out the reviews and photos. Then schedule your repair. When Mother Nature throws a tantrum and messes up the look of your vehicle, don't paint your car, go PDR with Kill a Dent Removal.
Why pay more for prescriptions? Stop overpaying and start saving with SingleCare. It's easy. Find your prescription on singlecare.com, show the coupon at the pharmacy, and start saving. SingleCare works at pharmacies nationwide and is completely free to use, whether you have insurance or not. So the next time you fill a prescription, check SingleCare to make sure you're getting the best price. Take control of your prescription costs. Go to singlecare.com or download the free app today.
Spring's here and it's time for a new patio. Indy Decorative Concrete is offering free demolition. Offer ends April 30th. Visit IndyDecorativeConcrete.com for details.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
This is quite the headline, Rob Kendall. How Rob Kendall became the most powerful talk radio show host in Indiana.
Oh, boy. Howdy. Boy, I've moved up in the world.
Yeah, you're the most powerful. So powerful. So this was an article written by Adam Wren, and it's about you.
Yeah, so Adam Wren, he writes for Politico. He covers national politics for Politico, and then he lives here in central Indiana. And so he covers the State House and Indiana politics, and he has a paid subscription-based newsletter that comes out a couple times a week with things that are going on. And he it's called Importantville. Now that they called it that because Trump famously named Indiana in 2016 Importantville, and so that's the name of the newsletter. And maybe every couple of weeks or whatever, he does a feature of somebody making news in Central Indiana, and he was kind enough to do a feature on me and our show, and really the property tax rally, I think, was kind of the catalyst for this piece. And I really should hire him as a professional hype man, because our bosses have never said anything as nice as about me as he said in this article.
After the article, right? He said that you are at the peak of your powers right now.
Well, that's nice of him to say, but I mean, we say this all the time. We don't have any real power, right?
Right.
We can't lord over anyone. We can't make somebody do anything. I can't raise or lower your taxes. Everybody who consumes our product, and by the way, if you'd like to read this article, if you just Google Adam Wren in Portonville, the website will pull up, and you can decide what I think that he did. I don't know if he still does, at a free week, and then whatever. But you can see that for yourself. But we don't have the ability to make anybody do anything. Everybody who consumes us of their own volition and free will. And one of the things that drives people crazy down the street from us at the State House is that people keep consuming us, and there's more and more people who keep consuming us, and they do that because they know we're not bullcrapping them. Like, we don't owe anybody anything.
Not beholden to anybody.
We don't want anything from these people. So much of what happens in the State House, and this is true in politics locally, statewide, nationally, is dependent upon people wanting something out of it. Like, I want a job, or my lobbying firm,
the next grift,
right? The next thing. And we like the jobs we have. This was my dream job from the time I was a little kid, and my obligation is to the audience, not these politicians. They don't do anything for me. And so I thought he really did a nice job. There was one line in here that I thought was excellent. He said, he also has made enemies. He is reviled by some establishment Republicans from the Daniels-Holcomb wing of the Indiana Republican Party. He calls Senator Todd Young the Duke of Spendingburg. He doesn't even like Attorney General Todd Rokita. Kendall also nurtures other squabbles that have no clear ideological thought line or through line. He told me he thinks Secretary of State Diego Morales is, quote, a disgrace. And I told him, I said, I'm not beholden to any of these people. I don't need something from them. And so that's why why we are perceived as a threat to the people down the street from us, because there's no leverage over us. Like, I'm not going back, certainly not in the near future, to anything politics. There's nothing that I want. My obligation is to you, the listener, to give you the truth, to give you our honest opinion. And when we see good things, we'll tell you about them. And when we see crap, we'll tell you about them. And you can't control that. And so the fact that those guys can't control that really bothers them.
So he asked you, who are the Republicans in Indiana who you like the least? And you said, I always joke that if I'm found with my face down on the Monon, there's going to be a list released of prime suspects.
Yeah. I think I have Spendingburg in there.
Holcomb on that list.
Yeah, Spendingburg.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the reality of this is a piece about me, but it really is about you, the audience. You are driving this. The power, the quote-unquote power, and that's very nice of him to say that I'm the most powerful radio broadcaster in the state. It's your power. You are rising. You are elevating. So when we get this, we are promoting you and the things that are important to you. You made that rally what it was. You made that property tax rally a success. We could have been there, and if 10 people showed up, they'd have been like, well, that was kind of a dud. You are the catalyst behind this. So anytime we get attention, we always want to make sure that we are just your face, and that's you that is actually getting the attention. Yeah.
I'm going to ask you his last question in the article to you.
Yeah.
And I want you to give your answer on the air. Indiana has a strong tradition of talk radio, from Jeff Samuelian, the CEO of MS, putting David Letterman on a morning show, here to Mike Pence, to Greg Garrison, to you. Where is all of this heading for you.
And so what I told him is, I said, it's right here, right? I have the greatest job in the world. I mean, it's a very rare thing where you can, especially in this business, get paid pretty well. You like the person that you work with. You have bosses that...
Oh, Kevin, that's so nice.
That's so
he
nice
said
of
that about
Kevin. You, in fact, have a coworker who does 90% of the work, and your bosses leave you alone. Like that, it's like a unicorn in this business.
Mm-hmm.
And the reality is, for me, I grew up listening to WIBC. I stand on the shoulders of Jeff Pidgeon and John Gillis and Terry Stacy and look, Mike Pence was a big part of this radio station, regardless of what my opinion of him is now. He's a big part of that. And Rush Limbaugh was, while obviously all over the country, Central Indiana, he was identified with this radio. It's so cool to me that the station I grew up listening to Rush Limbaugh on, I get to now be a part of. And then if you go before that, the guys like the Gary Todds and even Bob Lamy's and Dave Wilson's and, all of that, WIBC is it's a heritage radio station. It's a legacy. It's the most important media institution in the city, and the fact that
you could say at the state.
Well, right. No, you're right. Right. But it is the most legendary, those call letters, Indiana Broadcasting Company, right? Like that's the IBC. And we get to do this and be number one. We just saw the ratings again. We're number one again, and we're number one every month, and we have great listeners. And if you gave that up, if you want to talk about power, I would never have the quote unquote power we have here. There's no reason to leave here, because we get to do everything we want to do and drive discussion and be a part of something meaningful. And that's because of you, the audience. Without you, there is no us without you.
He did ask you, what storylines are you following over the next few weeks?
Yeah. And so I told him, and we talked about it today on the air, the property tax issue is the issue. And how Braun handles a bad deal, because he's going to get a bad deal. Todd Hughes is not going to walk in there and go, you know what, you're really right, Governor Braun. We have been screwing these people for a long time. This is not an Ebenezer Scrooge moment here, right? So Braun is going to get a bad deal. He already has a bad deal from the Senate. Whatever they merge in the conference committee is going to be a bad deal. And how Braun handles that bad deal, and whether he has the you-know-whats to do the right thing, which will be veto that bad deal and then call a special session. If he does that, look, he may fail, and he will likely fail, but the base will love him for doing that. And if he cuts some deal that's not a good deal, he'll be a one-term governor. So really, how Braun handles the next several weeks, and I fully anticipate he will not sign a bad deal. He has no political incentive to. There's nothing he's going to get out of it. And if he fights hard the next 6 weeks or whatever we got left, 5 weeks.
4.5.
Yeah, whatever. He could go down as a fairly legendary figure in Indiana political history, depending on how it all works out.
If you're a parent of an adult child, are you doing this for them? 50% of parents with adult children are. We'll talk about it coming up.
Drinking excessively?
It's 93 WIBC.
I'll say this. There are no entries in the Hoops Fan Hall of Fame who didn't show up to the game. Yes, you in the back.
Professor, March Madness is coming to Indianapolis. Are we ready?
You prepared to bring the fire? Give it 110 from tip to the final buzzer? Oh, you're ready. The NCAA Sweet 16 and Elite 8, March 28th and 30th in Indianapolis. Buy your seats today at ncaa.com/MBB tickets. Class dismissed.
Hey guys, it's Rob. Spring is here. Can you believe we're almost through March? I can't. And that means it's time to get your lawn in tip-top shape so you can enjoy it all summer long. That's why I called my friends at Save a Tree, the tree, shrub, and lawn experts. Here in the near future, Save a Tree is coming out to my house to make my yard look great after some tough winter weather, and they can do the same for you. Whether it's trimming and reshaping trees, treating yellow leaves and diseased shrubs, taking care of your lawn so it's weed-free and looking picture-perfect, Save a Tree can make your yard the envy of the neighborhood. See how beautiful your yard can be. Set up your own free evaluation at saveatree.com. That's SAVATREE.com. That's SAVATREE.com. Or dial pound 250 on your smartphone. Use the keyword Save a Tree. Save a Tree, the tree, shrub, and lawn experts. Tell them Rob sent you.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
They're trying to get it under control. I'm John Herrick. Here's what's trending at 11:30. A water main break on the north side of Indianapolis is causing significant flooding just south of Frederick Douglass Park this morning. Some cars are underwater and emergency responders are in the area trying to stop it from getting worse. Tornadoes possible this weekend across Indiana.
Severe storms technically mean severe winds above 60 miles per hour. So the threat is certainly there for high winds like that whenever the storms pass through.
Cody Moore at the National Weather Service says rain is also in the forecast for the next few days. One of the top leaders of the MS-13 gang was arrested in Virginia this morning. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi says the takedown was a joint operation between several law enforcement agencies. I'm John Herrick, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Hey guys, it's Rob for Life Church. You know, one of the things we love about Life Church, one of the many things we love, is the sense of community when you're at Life Church. You know, it's the Easter season, and maybe you're being called to a new church home or even a first church home or just something different. Check out Life Church. We have met so many WIBC listeners at Life Church over the years, and one of the things that they do at Life Church is they make you feel like so much more than just a number. You're an individual. And you're special. So see it for yourself. You got nothing to lose. You got everything to gain. Life Church has 4 campuses across central Indiana, Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, and Pendleton. They've got great online services, and you can learn more about everything online, lifechurchin.com.
What if the next time you painted your home was the last time you painted your home?
Our home has had Rhino Shield for 10 years.
Rhino Shield. Call 888-RHINO-41. Don't paint, don't vinyl. Go Rhino.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
What is going on with Ozzy Osbourne? What is he doing?
Well, he's got a podcast with his family.
Wait, Ozzy Osbourne has a podcast?
Yeah. His wife Sharon and his 2 kids.
By the way, it's Kendall and Casey Show. I'm Rob. That's Casey.
Mm-hmm.
He can still speak?
Well, he mumbles a lot. But yeah, he joins in.
Is he still active? Can he go do a rock show? Can you go to Ruoff and see Ozzy Osbourne?
Didn't he retire?
Well, I mean,
because
he
has
did.
some major health issues.
Well, he's insane.
It's, you know.
Now, this was always the thing though with Ozzy
Did
Osbourne.
They say that he was really ill?
But it was the thing with Ozzy Osbourne was it was like a Gary Busey thing, which is he clearly had some issue or affliction. In case the Gary Busey's case, he was in an automobile accident. But then Gary Busey was, like I said, he totally played into the idea that the guy's a wacky nut job. He's not really that crazy. And people had kind of said that about Ozzy Osbourne, where he's just leaned into this character of himself, and he's actually not that out of it.
Because he's a marketer.
Right.
He understood what sells.
Sure.
People liked it.
And he was always kind of wacky.
And so he went with it.
Let's see. Ozzy Osbourne tour. Is there any tour?
I don't think he's touring.
There we go. Yes, it looks like they've got things going on here. Is he supposed to be in Canada?
Really?
Yes. Yes, he's got a whole bunch of Back to the Beginning.
I thought he had some major health scare. Like they were afraid for his life.
No, let's see. Back to the Beginning, the final show, Saturday, July 5th, Villa Park in Birmingham. Oh, boy, Tommy Iommi's going to be so I guess maybe they're getting back together. But in the meantime, he's got some other shows, so he's still capable of, I guess, getting on stage and doing a tour.
Okay. Well, he was doing this podcast with his family, and they were talking about Donald Trump, and they were saying actually nice things about Donald Trump. And then at one point, the conversation turns, and his son, what's his name, Jack? I think that's his name.
That's right.
Yeah.
He poses this question, and I thought we have to talk about this.
It pains me to actually say this, but every interaction I've ever had with Donald Trump, he's been nothing but a gentleman and nice to me.
When I did the Apprentice with him, he was very supportive of you both because you were both working on your sobriety, and he kept saying, well done, about the pair of you.
So you've interviewed him?
Sorry, darling?
You have interviewed him?
Mum did The Apprentice.
For a month.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. And I must say that Melania was lovely.
When I met him at the Elton John thing, he looked at me and he went, Ozzy, I was amazed that he knew who I was.
Dad. You always say this, but you forget that you're literally the world's most famous rock star.
What?
Yes, you are.
I think you'll find that
you'd be hard pressed to find a corner of the earth that doesn't know who you are. I mean, you could go anywhere. I mean, even when
Dad,
we were down in
you're not
Patagonia, even the dogs knew who you were.
Like, you're not just famous, you're iconic as well, because you're the first.
That's why you're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice. You're in the 2 club.
I mean, that's very sweet. His children are, pumping him up. They're gassing him up. You're the world's most famous rock star. But
Kevin, there's no way, right?
No, would you consider Paul McCartney a rock star?
Yeah, he's a rock and roller.
I think he would be the most famous.
Oh, totally. I mean, well, anything the Beatles, regardless of what your opinion on the Beatles are, anything Beatles is infinitely bigger than, Black Sabbath had a ton of hits, and Ozzy Osbourne had a ton of hits, and there's no doubt that he's a huge name. But my God, now if you're saying living rock star, well, the Rolling Stones, I mean, I guess that's a band. But Mick Jagger is infinitely bigger than Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah.
I mean,
who's more identifiable? Like, if you saw him in a crowd, would you be like, oh, that's Ozzy Osbourne?
Well, Ozzy Osbourne looks like a freak. So, I mean, he goes out of his way to look like a, hobo or whatever. So, but the point is, the Rolling Stones are still out.
Right.
Producing. Now, I guess this thing that Ozzy Osbourne's doing is another farewell show. He's not actively touring, but he's still capable of, I guess, getting on stage. It's going to be Black Sabbath, Metallica, Slayer, Pantera. I mean, a whole bunch of these. This is going to be in England in July. But my point is, the Rolling Stones and Mick Jagger are way bigger. They're still alive. I would agree with Kevin. Paul McCartney is certainly a bigger deal. Look, Bruce Springsteen is still selling out stadiums, and he's actively on tour and engaged. The problem is a lot of these guys are dead now. I don't mean to be crass about this, but that generation, how many are actually left? I mean, let's start thinking about it. You've got, Billy Joel is still out touring, Springsteen. I don't know, there's not that many. I mean, you think about Led Zeppelin, they're not a thing anymore. Jimmy Page and John Paul Jones and Robert Plant are still alive, but not a thing. Elton John is retired, right? I mean, he finally...
Yeah.
So how many of these guys are actually out there producing and touring? There's not many.
So I asked AI what they thought were the top living rock stars today.
Because we don't count Taylor Swift as a rock star.
No. I mean, you got to stay within the genre, right? And they said... Paul McCartney was number 1, followed by Mick Jagger and Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah, okay. I would. Pause.
That's like the top 3.
Pause. I would think that would be. That's cool that AI.
Agreed with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And then they said Jimmy Page, Keith Richards, and then they kind of go off the rails a little bit, in my opinion. David Gilmour from Pink Floyd. And then they say U2's Bono.
Okay, that's fair.
I would agree with that one.
Yeah, that's fair.
They put Lenny Kravitz on the list.
Well. But he's not a classic rocker, right?
Yeah, I mean
Billy Joel is just sold out Lucas Oil Stadium.
He did, but would you say he's a rock guy, or would you say because his music?
What do you call Big Shot?
I don't know, adult contemporary. It's like would you call B1057 a rock station?
Well, the classic rock station in town plays Piano Man all the time.
Yeah. Okay.
Captain Jack's one of my 10 all-time favorite songs.
They have Eddie Vedder on the list. And then Axl Rose.
Yeah, okay.
So Ozzy Osbourne, not on the list at all.
You know what's interesting to me? I had this conversation, this has been a while ago, with Jake Query, who does the midday show on The Fan. And he went to a Springsteen concert. I guess this was last year at Wrigley Field.
Yeah.
And I told you that I was out. Like, I'm just not going to the shows anymore.
Well, because he's not what you remember.
Right. He's
not doing the show that he used to.
And I can watch them all on the YouTube, and it's older and it's slower. But he was talking about this yesterday on his show, and we've had this conversation before. He said, that's the greatest rock concert I've ever been to. And I'm listening to that going, that guy's like a fraction of what he was even 10 years ago. But it's still so great that if you've never seen him before, because he said, I'd never seen him before. He goes, it was just the most amazing show. And I just so badly want to go, well, buddy, do I have some stories for you, right? So
welcome to the club.
So it's all the eye of the beholder, right? The perspective. And to me, I'm hearing that going, well, man, if he's seeing this going, this is the best rock show I've ever seen. And I'm like, ooh, it's pretty slow and not as great as it used to be. It is also, I think, showing how little, and Kev, you can get in on this, the current generation of stars are not producing the sort of live shows that are endearing audiences to them.
Yeah, I feel like it's heavily manufactured. Their music's heavily manufactured in the studio.
Agree.
So it's hard
Auto-tuned.
Yeah, it's hard to translate that to a live performance.
Well, and you're a festival person, right?
Yeah.
You go to the festivals where there's 30 bands playing. And if you see a band, well, they're only on stage for 45 minutes or an hour.
Right.
And to me, that takes away some of the lure of the artist or the connection with the artist because they're just part of a thing with other people. And there's not really that personal connection with the artist because we're just at this thing and it's some big outdoor festival.
They're going to play their hits
Right.
and then get off stage.
And they're on a timer, right? So who are those guys you love? What are their names?
Oh, Viagra Boys?
The Viagra Boys.
Yeah.
Yes, that's Kevin's favorite band is the Viagra Boys. And they play these festivals. And it's like, well, cool. But, there's like, it just seems like they're on a timer. And I think we're seeing more and more because these newer acts, younger acts, are not drawing on their own that they have to do in group or in mass these festivals. They're just not seeing the connection with live music the way you used to.
Well, that's just it. They don't have to spend the time. I mean, half the time they don't even know which city they're in, right?
Yeah,
they're being
right.
told before they walk out on stage. They play the hits. There's not that long-term connection with the audience. They're not really changing the show based on how the crowd is responding. They just do the thing. It's very mechanical.
Right. What's the guy's name? The singer? What's his name?
Sebastian Murphy.
Yeah,
is
he just
the lead singer.
He just lays on the ground and screams.
Yeah, I've seen them a few times.
Kevin's
and
paying big dollars for that.
I will say, like their actual shows, because I have seen them down in Louisville.
Yeah.
And that's way better than seeing them at the festival because you're like absorbed into their world.
Yeah, but that's my point. Even at these festivals, they're like, well, we're not the big thing. Like, we're just here,
Right.
part of the crowd. So I'm just going to, when he like doing push-ups at one point. And,
Yeah, he does push-ups during one of the songs.
Yeah, so no, this is crap. This whole thing is crap. Ozzy Osbourne's not even in the top
10.
No.
So the kids were just trying to make Dad feel good.
Of course, which
Yeah.
is fine.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of a.
But I don't
nice-
think he's actively toured since like 20.
Right.
He did
18.
do a pretty big song with Post Malone a few years ago. So I think he captured the younger generation's interest.
How long you think you hang on to that, though? Like, how long? Okay, so-and-so did a collab.
Yeah.
Like, how long do people remember that? I don't know. Anyway,
a few years.
Anyway, well, I'm glad we settled all that. So that's cool. We got the right with the AI that they had McCartney, Mick Jagger,
They totally
and Bruce Springsteen,
agreed
and
with
that's
you.
what we had. Yeah.
You must be programming it these days.
Very good.
50% of parents with children older than 18 are providing financial support for them.
Oh wow!
It's 47% last year, up from
Like they're giving them money
on average $1,474 a month.
A month?
A month in
Like-
financial support. It's at a 3-year high.
This is cash.
Well, in some way, they are supporting their adult children with $1,474 a month.
Okay, so I'd like to know, because this is a little misleading, because if it's just, did they include that you can stay at my house? Because I don't think to have a 20-year-old son or daughter living at home, that's not some...
That's not supporting them financially?
Well, it's not, you would...
It does include housing costs.
Okay.
And everyday expenses.
Okay, now the other everyday expenses, no. You'd be paying for that.
Cell phone,
I don't
groceries.
Think that should all be on you. I don't think there's anything egregious, though, about if you got a 19 or 20-year-old kid that they're still living at home, especially if they're going to school or whatever.
Right.
That doesn't seem like some freeloader society. But the idea, that if you're giving your adult kid cash. that's not good.
Around 1 in 3 adults age 18 to 34 in this country live with their parents at their parents' home.
1 in 3?
1 in 3 between the ages of 18 and 34.
I'd love to know how that compares, like, to, say, 10 years ago. Like, I wonder, I'm sure it's higher because of inflation. But that is staggering. It's also not a great way to grow a society when that many people are not out in the marketplace, the living marketplace, for lack of a better term.
Well, I mean, we talk about the cost of housing all the time, and then with property taxes and the homeowners insurance, I mean, it's...
If you think about it, if you're in your mid-20s and you've got a house that's big enough and it doesn't interfere in your desire to have interpersonal connections with the member of the opposite sex.
A good time. Chances are...
Why not?
The person
Why
of
would
the
you pay for
opposite
rent?
sex is in the same situation.
Well, that's a great point.
So they understand it. All right, cool. Nice to meet your parents. You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Oh, yeah, nobody has more fun in the afternoon than we do. We're the Hammer and Nigel Show. We start at 3:06, biggest stories in Indy, Hammer and Nigel Madness. Rob Kendall, off the rails, let's go.
Hey, guys, it's Rob. Spring is here. Can you believe we're almost through March? I can't. And that means it's time to get your lawn in tip-top shape so you can enjoy it all summer long. That's why I called my friends at Save a Tree, the tree, shrub, and lawn experts. Here in the near future, Save a Tree is coming out to my house to make my yard look great after some tough winter weather, and they can do the same for you. Whether it's trimming and reshaping trees, treating yellow leaves and diseased shrubs, taking care of your lawn so it's weed-free and looking picture-perfect, Save a Tree can make your yard the envy of the neighborhood. See how beautiful your yard can be. Set up your own free evaluation at saveatree.com. That's SAVATREE.com. That's SAVATREE.com. Or dial pound 250 on your smartphone. Use the keyword Save a Tree. Save a Tree, the tree, shrub, and lawn experts. Tell them Rob sent you.
Life insurance is one of those things that just about everybody needs, but few people actually have. Hey, if you die unexpectedly without life insurance, guess what? You'll leave your family with even a bigger mess. Life insurance will help replace your family's income. It'll help cover burial expenses. Life insurance can even help pay off debt like credit cards and medical bills. Life insurance can even pay for college. And if you own a business and you die, life insurance can help your business from collapsing. It can even help cover estate taxes. Life insurance has never been more affordable and needed. Plus, you can always shop around even if you have a plan and save some money. So call the Life Insurance Quote Line right now for free pricing information.
800-917-8730. 800-917-8730. 800-917-8730. That's 800-917-8730.
The April 15th deadline to file the FAFSA is fast approaching. When you complete the free application for federal student aid, you help your child access Indiana's nearly $400 million in financial aid, including programs like the 21st Century Scholarship. It also determines your student's eligibility for federal grants and scholarships for college or certificate programs. Visit studentaid.gov to get started. For complete information, go to learnmoreindiana.org/FAFSA. Paid for by the Indiana Commission for Higher Education.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. Call 800-335-2299. That's 800-335-2299.
Don't stress about plumbing repairs. Call LD Smith for honest advice and a free second opinion on any estimate.
LD Smith Plumbing.
A dirty, stinking honest. Addiction. It's hard on those who struggle with it, but those who love the addict need support too. Matt Baer and Ryan Hedrick provide help and hope with Supporting Sobriety. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and on WIBC.com.
Remember your wedding?
Of course I do.
Remember how much you spent on your wedding?
Not a whole lot. I remember that my wedding dress was about $400.
Yeah.
Which was relatively inexpensive for many prices. My dad was just glad I didn't wear jeans. He said, you can wear anything you want. I just don't want to walk you down the aisle wearing jeans.
So you got married at church.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Catholic wedding at St. Pius in Granger, Indiana.
Did you have an after party of some sort?
Yep, it was at the Century Center.
How exciting.
Right on the river in South Bend.
Okay, so I ask this because Jeff Bezos is getting married again.
Mm-hmm.
to this Jersey chaser, Lauren Sanchez.
Yeah, the one that Zuckerberg was checking out.
Yes, at the
inauguration.
Inauguration.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, for those who don't know, Jersey chaser is a code name for a woman who loves the athletes, and the word on the street about her was that she had found many a professional athlete very attractive, and then she traded that in for money.
Well, she was chasing a big wallet.
What do you think the prenup looks like for Bezos?
Right? There's got to be some sort of payout. Like if you make it X amount of years, you get so much money.
Because,
it's probably a graduating
I'm not trying
scale.
to indict this person, but it would appear that, she's not afraid to have a nice time. And so you might want to have all those things set up and in place.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
But the Sun has a big old article about the Bezos wedding because they're sending out the
invitations. Yeah.
And he's supposedly getting married on some sort of $500 million super yacht.
It's the super yacht. Yeah. They're going to float away in love, right?
Oh, no, I guess they're just using this as a taxi. They're not even getting married on the super yacht. They're just using that as a taxi to get people where they need to go. So that's very nice.
He spent $2.5 million on a 20-carat ring.
How much?
$2.5 million.
$32,000 suites to accommodate guests. Did you have anybody come in for your wedding?
Yeah, we had people from out of town.
Did you put them up in a $32,000 suite?
Well, we didn't put them up. They got their own hotel
you made
rooms.
people pay for their own hotels?
Well, yeah.
At your wedding?
Yeah.
Seems kind of chintzy.
You think so?
Well, I mean, they're coming to your wedding.
I think that's what you do, though.
Really?
When your aunts and uncles come in from out of town, you invite them. They can decide if they're going to come.
We got to ask Susan about that tomorrow, that if you're having a wedding and people are flying in for your wedding that you've invited, like they're not coming of their own volition, right?
Right.
I mean, maybe they're coming of their own volition. They're not coming uninvited.
Right. No.
But you made them pay for their own stuff?
Yeah, they pay for their own hotel room. And you know what?
What are they getting out of
When
this?
my mom came in for that wedding over the summer that was in Carmel, she came in from St. Louis and she stayed in a hotel and she paid for it.
That seems like
the parents of the bride did not pay for her wedding her hotel room.
That
I think that's normal protocol.
I don't know. That just seems a little chintzy to me.
You think so?
Now, look, I'm the wrong person to ask because I got married in the backyard.
Well, that's true, but
I did my whole wedding for $500.
My mom was the oldest of 6. My dad was the oldest of 5. So I have a lot of aunts and uncles. Was I supposed to? And none of them live in South Bend. Was
I wouldn't
I
have
supposed
invited
to pay
them
for all of them?
I just wouldn't have invited them.
Well, that was mom and dad's call. They helped pay for the wedding, so they got to craft the invite list.
Yeah. Okay. So Bezos' net worth is estimated to be $212 billion.
Mm-hmm.
And, Matt Hiblin and I have had this conversation numerous times over the years. I've been here 9 years.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had this conversation many times that when people see things like this, it turns them against capitalism.
Yeah, because they see how much they can afford. Because I guess the hotel that their guests are going to stay in are $3,200 a night.
Well, but it could be upwards of $32,000 depending on the size. And so people look at this. Hey, you're renting or whatever, a $500 million super yacht. You're spending upwards of $32,000 on suites.
She's going to be wearing Oscar de la Renta for her wedding dress.
And people look at this and they go, I don't mind people having a lot of money, but I'm struggling to pay my bills and I work very hard.
Right. And you feel like, they're putting it right in your face.
Well, right. And you're saying... And the older I get, the more I understand this. Because when I first started working with Matt, and he would be adamant about this, and I would say, "Man, I just, I don't know." But the older I get, the more I get it, because you're saying, "Look, we're not talking about welfare queens here. We're not talking about people who don't want to work. I'm talking about plumbers and carpenters and teachers and these sort of people who are like, I go to work every day. I contribute to society.
Right.
I am good at my craft, and I'm struggling to pay the rent or have a retirement." And this guy has found a way to make so much money that he's renting a $500 million super yacht for his wedding.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe the system doesn't work so great.
Does it make you so angry that you want to stop using Amazon? Because if you really want to...
that's cute. You think I use Amazon.
Well, your wife does.
Well, but hey, look, her money, her choice, right? I don't know how any of that works. I don't buy things on the internet. We've been through this,
you
right?
Don't buy anything ever.
I don't buy... Well, right. But if I do, it's certainly not on the internet.
But that's the question, though. Are you so angry about this that it's going to make you stop using the product?
Well, I'm not angry in the sense of, like, he earned his money. He's not, by all accounts, not doing anything nefarious. He's providing a service.
Right.
People are using the service. I don't sit around, it doesn't consume my day of that so-and-so Jeff Bezos having a $500 million super yacht. What I'm saying is I do begin to see as I get older how people recoil against a system in which you struggle even though you're willing to work and provide a service or a skill to get ahead. And then this guy or guys like him, the Zuckerbergs, the Elon Musk people, they have such an amount of wealth that you can't even begin to process it.
Right. You can't even relate to that much money.
Right. So, like I said, the shrinking middle class and the growing wealth divide is not good for our society. And things like this will really make a lot of people angry because they say, what does he need all of this for? And why does he get all of this? And
who's this guy? Why is he so special?
I don't know. Like I do think that's interesting that the older I get, the more I begin to understand that part of the conversation.
But then again, there's always the option where you can come up with the $1 million idea.
Sure. Look, Casey,
and sell it like hotcakes, and then you can be just like him. There's nothing stopping you from being on his level.
Look, I thought it was very specific.
The lack of the idea.
He earned his money, so he should spend it however he wants. I'm simply saying that there is a huge portion of the populace who will see that and look at their own life. And I felt the same way about when these coaches get fired in sports and they get paid all this money to not coach, or these athletes they get these big contracts and don't perform. Like people look at this stuff and go, this divide is really starting to be a big deal in our society, and the uber wealthy better wake up to this because eventually the people are going to turn.
Yeah, exactly. But again, when you look at the athletes, I think it's ridiculous how much so many of them make. But are you going to quit consuming the sport?
Right.
You know,
what I am going to do is go home, Casey.
Okay. I'm going to do that too. All right. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Kevin. Thanks for listening today. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Hi, I'm Charlie Comer from Comer & Cross Premium Garage Floor Coatings. When your garage floor has stains, cracks, and pits, it makes your whole garage look bad. And a bad epoxy job looks even worse. Look, spring will be here on March 20th. For your best price of the year on your new garage floor, basement, or patio, and installation this spring, please call me now at 1-800-NEW-FLOOR. Guaranteed, a Comer & Cross concrete floor coating won't chip, crack, or show tire lift like epoxy or paint ever. In one day, we make it so easy. We move your stuff out for you. We fix the cracks and pits perfectly. And apply your gleaming new Comer & Cross concrete floor in 6 stages, just in time for spring. For your best price of the year on your new garage floor, basement, or patio, and installation by spring, please call me now at 1-800-NEW-FLOOR. That's 1-800-NEW-FLOOR. Or go to COMERcross.com.
Looking for a great deal on a new Lincoln? Come to Tom Roush Lincoln. Select 2024 Lincoln Navigators, now $15,000 off, and get 0% for 72 months. How about an all-new 2024 Lincoln Nautilus, now $6,000 off with rates starting at 4.9% for 60 months. We look forward to seeing you at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers.
Lincoln Navigator MSRP 104,825. Lincoln Nautilus MSRP 57,785. Offers good through March 31st, 2025. Subject to credit approval. See dealer for complete offer details.
It's your last chance to get Disney Plus and Hulu together for just $2.99 a month.
Definitely a very smart move.
Get both and watch Star Wars Andor Season 2 and Mufasa the Lion King on Disney Plus.
There's a lot of stories with all of us.
On Hulu, it's the new season of The Handmaid's Tale and A Complete Unknown.
Give a warm welcome to Bob Dylan.
Don't miss your last chance to get Disney Plus and Hulu together for just $2.99 a month for 4 months. New and returning subscribers, 18 plus only. After 4 months, plan auto renews at $10.99 a month until canceled. Offer ends 3/30/25. Terms apply.
Reach your fitness goals in 2025 with a 20-minute once-a-week program at Exercise Inc. 5 locations now in Fishers. Visit exerciseinc.com.
Spring's here and it's time for a new patio. Indy Decorative Concrete is offering free demolition. Offer ends